if you're one of our haters who are out there watching.
I want to warn people about hypnoporn.
We need to stay meta.
Stop that.
Need new tires? Like what?
If Jim would shut up for a second.
Oh, high fidelity.
Okay, don't tell me to shut up.
I'm not whining.
I eat doggies. I eat doggies. Feels like a party.
Stop that. It's a war. They have made it so that I cannot be celebrating July 4th.
I don't care. I'm gonna lie, I'm not gonna pretend. I don't care. How do I think? That's what I think. I don't care.
This is 6 Degrees of Stew. You don't need to stay meta, but I'm glad you're here. Oh, they're so cute. My impression of HiFi remains unchanged. She's overly concerned with maintaining an air of potential violence characteristic of Gen X white males. Yep, it's a definitive archetype. Very well said. Yep, absolutely nailed it. Nailed it. It's like there's been no growth. Like, if you look at from that perspective, which I agree with, he's just stuck there. Like, no growth at all. Okay. Let me load up my other. Sorry, kitties. Now, I don't know that much about Greg. I think he was involved. I actually am 100% sure he was involved in something with Anonymous at some point. I have no real opinions on Greg. This is just to look at some things that HiFi says at a different point on a different show in a different interview on how he handles things. This interview, interestingly, was done in 2023. And I remember when I came across it, because you will never see Jim or Heidi really cross promote HiFi. Like, Heidi let him write in her Substack, I think twice, but they don't really give HiFi a lot of shout outs or things that he does. No, Jim never grows either. No, not at all. Let me make sure these captions are on for this. What's interesting about the Greg Hausch interview is that HiFi is kind of seems like he's in his own zone, or he feels really comfortable that it's somebody that was in Anonymous and that it's in tech and understands that world. So he has a whole different comfort level than when he's talking to Heidi on different subject matters that they get into. And for anybody who remembers, I do remember this about Greg. This happened, what is it? A couple months ago, maybe 6 months ago. He was mistaken, and I think it was a Huffington Post article for Tim Pool, and he had to get them to issue a correction because of the beanie thing. That's the most recent thing I remember about Greg. Like I said, I don't know that much about him. I have no opinion one way or other, except it's shitty to have HiFi on, but what are you going to do? Some people.
All right. Good evening.
Not going to play
everybody.
the whole thing either. Here's the link if you do want to go and watch this.
Here's
on
not
your own
seen
time,
this guest
it's really long.
yet. So new guest for us. This is an old schooler who has been around for a while. As you might notice. So we are going to talk about some fun stuff that's going to involve some screen
You guys see a
sharing.
stupid
I have
detective
just
hat?
kind of on the fly put together this version of a screen because tell me if you can read what's on the screen share side of this for one in the chat there. I think we got it zoomed in right and everything else and sized in a way that'll work. So what do you want to say about yourself there? I know I asked you kind of how to intro you and all that fun stuff, but you said you were gonna do an intro.
All right. So my name is
currently the name I use is High Fidelity. My real name, because you know I'm an old man now. I'm grown up. I don't need to be anonymous anymore. I'm not worried about anybody coming for me. My name is Josh Fidel. I am an IT consultant. I used to hang out on Something Awful with the Goons.
The Goons.
Spent my time in B on 4chan. 4chan was traumatizing. It warped me as a human being, as I think it did all of us.
It did.
It did.
Some of us got through the other side of that.
Yeah,
Some of us
we grew up.
HiFi, you did not grow up. You're full of
Some
fucking
of us went
shit.
to prison and then grew up, and I don't know. Anyway, so I watched Chanology. I watched everybody get snatched. I watched everybody go in. I actually started in IT in 1998. I started taking classes because I knew technology is a tool, and you know, humans with tools can make some awesome things, and humans with tools can do some terrible things. And right now, the reason I'm talking to you is because what humans have done with tools is it's a terrible thing. It's very
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, they made moms kill children.
Oh, it gets pretty
That's not how we
deep
do
on
things.
this, Nicole.
No.
Um,
Well, it's not how we should do things. It seems to be the norm at this point.
yeah, which is why I have an idea that we can talk about towards the end of this. But
Let's go.
Don't do
all right.
anything with HiFi.
So what
Abort.
happened? Yeah, so I've been in IT a long time. I've actually done everything but coding, specifically because I know that coders get snatched. I know that the security researchers and the malware people, and I know they get snatched. So I did everything but code. I do
It is.
storage, networking.
I'll link it again.
You know, I even dabbled in security for a little time, just so I would
There you go,
understand it and know how things work. And I mean, I can read code. I can look at code and go, oh yeah, that code does this, and blah blah blah.
Yep.
But I don't write it.
Right.
Very very specifically. Why? Because
Am I allowed to swear?
Yes, you are.
okay. You know, fuck the feds snatching me up.
Nobody's coming for you,
bullshit.
HiFi. Nobody
Yeah.
has ever cared.
So yeah, so I did everything but, and I got really good at it. You know, I worked for VMware, which was the still might be like the fifth largest software company in the world. And there I actually worked sales, and the reason I was good at sales there is, well, I mean, what did we learn on the chans? We learned manipulation. We learned ops. We learned. It's psyops.
Sales is definitely psyops and social engineering. I mean, you're convincing people to give you their money.
Yeah, and I was really good at that. And anyone who says I wasn't is a damn liar. But anyway.
Right.
Not only did he wear a suit and tie for Greg, Nicole, but at the beginning he had a fedora on. Hold on, let me check the time so I can come back to this. 4:29. Okay, hold on. Look, he has a hat on at the beginning. Watch. I'll pause for it.
All right.
Look at his hat. He wore a suit and tie and a that hat. I can't. He does. He admits what he's doing that he accuses us of being. Yeah, he got all fancy for Greg's show, which oh my gosh, cracks me up. Okay.
Active on Twitter. Had a few thousand followers.
The first time I watched this, Nicole, I howled.
International beard group, beard club for IT professionals, V-Beards. Just the letter V and beards.com. You know, we have a website. That collective, that collective was an extension of all the stuff we learned, except I made very, very careful.
I'm letting HiFi do his introduction. We're going to skip a lot of his bullshit story and get to the more interesting parts.
That it remained leaderless. and it tried to only do good things if it wanted to actually do something. And
He has.
otherwise, it
You're
was
right,
just
Sven.
an excuse to get around, get rowdy, have fun, kind of
Which
thumb our
everyone
nose at the
needs.
man. Yeah. Before that, in my 20s, I started a religious cult. That got really weird.
I mean, they usually do. That's, you know.
Yeah, well, people started bringing me gifts, right? And that was just too weird for me. So I actually ditched town.
Do you notice how when
Yeah,
he
to
told
this
Heidi
day,
this
they're
story, he went overseas to Japan for 6 months with his uncle to teach English. When he's talking to his cool friend Greg, he ditches town after he creates the cult. So it depends on who he's talking to, how cool he tries to sound. I pick up on little details like these. I pay attention when people talk.
there are people who only know me as Rafiki. That was my name as the leader of the cult, and it was Rafikianism. And yeah, but then I quit that because anyway, it's kind of amazing. Yeah, it's the exact same skill sets. It's manipulation. Yeah. Anyway, so I was very active online, and I started getting caught up in psychological operations. And I mean, there are some who would call my point of view to the left on the scale of politics. I don't actually like the right or the left.
You're not on the left. Fuck out of here.
Bullshit. But I started getting psyops.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't recognize it.
TI.
And it did quite a number on me. And then there was one guy at a company called CDW, a dude named Wayne Hess. And Wayne and I worked together, and we respected each other. And he checked me one day. And I was like, whoa. What the hell is going on? Why am I like this? And then I started looking at the data feeds of a person who was both left wing and a person who was both right wing. And it got so bad, just in the disparate realities that I was viewing. I remember, and this was early August 2020, I remember pushing myself back from my desk and just grabbing my head because it was throbbing so hard, because I could not understand, why am I seeing two separate realities? You know, I'm looking at like Andy Ngo, however you pronounce it.
Andy No.
Milkshake concussion, right? I'm looking at milkshake concussion, and I'm looking at Ian Miles Chong, and I'm looking at, Fuentes, and I'm watching this stuff, and I'm like, these people are saying something completely different, but like Unicorn Riot, or even mainstream media like CNN or any of those people. It was very, very weird, and I couldn't figure it out. And I was trying to piece it together, what was going on. And then Rittenhouse happened.
I think a lot of us went to high school with this guy. You're right.
And
good point.
For those in the audience who are not aware, Kyle Rittenhouse is a 17-year-old kid who, in Kenosha, Wisconsin, during a protest, shot and killed 2 people and severely injured a third. And that kind of made me snap, especially with the fallout over the next 2 years.
He is insufferable.
They're calling him a hero. They were lauding him for his bravery. Look, I don't care what your politics are. You shoot 2.
Right here, because he's going to tell most of the story of what we've already heard. I'm going to play him at a faster speed, and I'll slow down for the things that we catch, because we've heard this. He tells Greg a little bit more than he tells Heidi, because Greg lets him tell the story. Greg wants to hear the story, where Heidi's just like, whatever, HiFi, we've heard the story, where Greg actually wants to hear it. So I'm just going to speed it up a little bit. Since some people haven't seen this before, it did occur to me, people might not watch this on their own, so maybe I should have it. That way it goes to my Spotify, so it is out there. We'll see what they sound like at 1.2.
2 people and injure a third in the street. You get arrested. I mean, that's just the way it is. You know, we don't do that shit here. That is some like militia death squad crap, you know, under Fujimori in Peru. No, we don't. This not in my country.
Welcome,
So
Nicole.
anyway, they started throwing up all these fundraisers, and you know, the people who did not like that collective came together and they started knocking them down. Right? They did. You know, GoFundMe got knocked down. A couple other ones got knocked down, but there was one I
It ends up on
found.
Give Send Go.
Yeah, and it wouldn't go down. So I started looking at it, and this was on August 28th, as you can see, of 2020.
I mean, Give Send Go specifically exists for these types of fundraisers. Like, it is specifically
Well,
for the right-wing bastards.
No. Before this, it was a Christian fundraising site.
That's not different to me. Sorry.
Greg
All
House,
right, okay.
not different
All
to
right,
me.
so you have to understand my view on religion. I have
Two
people
shits.
in my family who I have, you know, Protestant ministers. My nephew is Muslim. My cousins are Jewish. I have cousins who are Shinto Buddhist. I personally do not choose to practice religion because that's not who I am. I do not fault anyone for their religion because if you look at it overall, religion is a guideline on how to live your life, how to be a decent person. However, I think it also can be used as influence, right? Because that's what it's all about, influence. Well, let's face it, man. If you ever meet my kids, you'll understand.
Who dislikes the very idea of religion and thinks it's a virus on the human mind and should be done away with entirely.
Fair. However,
I'm unashamed about it. I know who I am. I came to terms a long time ago with just saying atheist, realizing that I don't identify with them either. Most of them don't like me either because, like, I'm a devout atheist.
Fair. I guess I'd say I'm more of an agnostic because I personally view it as arrogant for me to say that we don't know that there's something greater out there because we don't. I mean, we have no evidence either way, as far as I can tell. You know,
Make a short high five. Maybe that'll help you. Map it out.
There's stories, and I look at them as stories, and stories have morals, right? And the morals of these stories are don't do these things. So, like the whole Israeli, you know, the Jewish / Muslim don't eat pork thing. You trace that directly back to trichinosis, right? Yeah. Because they didn't have refrigerated meat. They didn't have, you know, whatever medicine to kill these worms. Well, actually, that's a good thing, right? Yeah. I don't want my people dying from trichinosis. Don't eat the pork, yo. Oh, okay, cool. It works. Yeah,
it's just also been used as a form of oppression for thousands of years.
Yeah, well, indoctrination, oppression, murder on a mass scale, power
100%.
Games. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, so I have a lot of my issues there. We could go on for 10 hours about that. We're here for other stuff.
We're here for other stuff.
So Give Send Go is originally for Christian causes, you know, that might have trouble on things like GoFundMe or whatnot for any number of reasons. And then it starts being used by all these far right-wing type of things like Rittenhouse and tons of others. I mean, this is one example of 100 really bad ones that have gone through there that they won't take down.
Well, this was the start of that. Yeah. I didn't really see any like Proud Boys or anything before this.
No,
nobody knew this was a thing until this one. Until they had to go find a new home.
True.
Yeah. And so this happened, and you know, I'm scrolling through the comments on this as you go through the PDF. I'm sorry the pictures aren't in here. I didn't grab the pictures. I actually have them. Well, actually, some of the pictures aren't in here, but they're violent. They're right wing. They're nasty, right? And they're radicalizing is what they go kick some ass, right? I mean, that's go fight. Ooh. Ape together strong. I mean, this is total. It's evolutionary biology, you know, in the human sense. Anyway, so I'm like, hey, you know, the stuff is indirect violation of their terms of service, right?
Yes. And they said, go fuck yourself. He's lucky he got a response from the CFO.
So yeah, my chat, when I look this way, it's because I'm looking at a bigger version of what's shared on the screen. So if anyone's wondering why I keep looking over there, you know,
right. So I started looking into this site, and I hit them up. I hit them up on Twitter, and I hit them up on Facebook. And no answer, right? And here's the messages from when I'm hitting them off. And hey, and still waiting. Here's the URL of the freaking, you know, like, okay. So, and then I started looking, because I'm a solutions architect, because I have the skill set of,
I'm a solutions
you know, looking
architect.
into websites and hosting and registrars and certificates. I mean, I've run web servers before. This is not hard stuff. So I started looking at it. I'm like, all right, GoDaddy registered them. You know, what's their, who is, where are these people? What's their IP? Ping them up, right? And you know, they're hosted on Amazon, and it's hosted on Amazon Cloud. And while I'm doing this, I started looking into the company behind it. I found the company, I think it's the CEO or the COO and the CFO, Jacob Wells. I found them on LinkedIn, and I'm like, hey, Jacob, how you doing? I was very nice, very polite. I still have the screenshots if they don't show up in here. But you know, I'm like, hey, you know, this violates your terms of service. You should probably take it down. And you know, this is incorrect. It was their CFO, which is weird because he answered me on LinkedIn, but they blocked me on Twitter, and they never answered me on Facebook.
Somebody blocked you on
Twitter. And then while I'm
weird.
contacting the CFO and I'm looking at the fundraiser and all these things are happening, there's an update on the campaign. I'm checking the campaign roughly top of the hour, you know, every hour, just to like keep an eye on how much. And I cannot believe how much money is starting to flow in.
It was going up quick.
Yeah, it was going up super duper fast. And we can talk about that a little bit too. But so at 9. it was around 5 o'clock-ish, right? And the update popped up on the fundraiser, and it was hit with 9:05 p.m. That was like the daytime tag on the
The
little
story
update.
is so maddening to me.
I was like, what the heck? Like, I didn't see it when I checked at 3:50. I saw it when I checked at 5:15. So I'm guessing, it happened at somewhere in there, which I doubt it was. If it was 5:05, 4 hours ahead of 5:05 is in the middle of the ocean, so that's not time zone.
Right.
But if it was 4:05, that's 5 hours ahead, and that's UK time. Okay, could it be UK time? And keep that in mind because that comes back. And so we find this Fight Back Foundation that Ellen Wood had registered.
I can't imagine
12
still thinking
days
about this from
before the
2020
announcement,
to 2023. 3 years later,
I talked to Jacob
you're
Wells.
still
and
railing about this.
he took my messages and did not answer for me for
This is your
24
life's
hours.
work.
And when he came back after that 24 hours, which what he was doing during that 24 hours, he's going to whoever his people are, and they're conferencing, what are we going to do? Are we going to respond to this? Blah, 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 blah.
Do we deny?
Yeah.
Do we admit? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
And he came back and he's like, nope, it's freedom of speech and patriotism and all the stuff they claim. Even though it directly violates the terms of service as written on their site. Screw you for them. All right.
So now, I know he's still talking about Lynn Wood in 2023. Muggsy, I'm not even lying. The new troll account he has, he posted his Lynn Wood video on it. He's still hung up on it. We're in 2025 and he can't let that shit go. Like, he won't. Like, it's really quite sad. It really is. But what I was going to say is HiFi seems very concerned about terms and service here and them not following it, like how it's written down. But for some reason, he thinks that he is above Twitter's terms of services.
And that's where the pictures were of the conversation. I did dox myself. And so we started looking at this Fight Back Foundation. And what I found on the Fight Back Foundation website is they were actually using an RDAP server from the UK. Which is really weird considering that the update came possibly from a UK time zone. Okay.
Bags, but
and then we start going down. Why the UK?
Companies do this shit all the time.
We find out that Fight Back actually has a registration.
I know, right?
Might
as well
UK,
be bitching about the
I believe it was
walk-ins
West
right now.
Yorkshire. And I looked up the address on Google Maps, and it was a house. It's like 2 green. I have to look back through all my data and everything to find the exact. But it was a house. Like, why are you? What? So. While I'm doing all this research and trying to find this, somebody pops up in my DMs on Twitter and they say, here, that address is registered to these charities and these companies. And here's the guy who's addressed to it. And his name, I'll never forget his name. It was Ian Michael Cameron Cross. Nice name, huh?
Right.
Ian Michael Cameron Cross. So I looked up Ian Michael Cameron Cross and I found him, and this is in my data as well. I found his LinkedIn. And his LinkedIn read like a guy who'd done time for pedophilia. And I thought I was
What
crazy.
a way to describe someone. I love it.
No, he was talking about mistakes he'd made in the past. And as a father with 2 young daughters, I understand. And, I'm turning over a new leaf. Yeah. As soon as people start talking about,
He was saying it without saying it.
Yeah. And I thought it was kind of like, am I just reading it? So I showed it to my kid. And my kid is 15 and they looked at it and they looked at me like, Dad, this dude's a pedo. I'm like, okay, whatever. Okay. Maybe not. Maybe yes. It doesn't really matter.
How are you getting your kids
I've got a
involved in
screenshot
this
of it
stuff?
somewhere, but the guy, as soon as I brought it up in this thread, deleted his LinkedIn from linkedin.co.uk, which I found incredibly interesting. Thank you. And then I realized that Ellen Wood is into QAnon.
Of course.
Right? And okay, so at this point in time, my understanding
This is a while
Q,
ago. This is like everyone today knows Lynn Wood is freaking all about Q. But then that was still some new news for most people.
All right, so do you still follow Op Death Eaters at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I keep an eye on Op Death Eaters because I think they're doing good work. I mean, the Berlusconi Gaddafi thing blew my fucking mind.
Yeah.
Right? That was just like crazy. And actually, Berlusconi plays a part in this because, well, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
So Ellen Wood is into Q. And this was, I forget, this was like day 4 or day 5. And yeah, here's the company, this guy. If anybody wants a screenshot, take a screenshot.
Nobody wants a screenshot, HiFi.
Yeah, and he was shady. He was just like a bunch of charities and crap. And yeah, it just none of this made any sense. And I started going into Fight Back Foundation and what addresses they had listed. And then it listed who the attorneys were, right? And that was John M. Pierce and Ellen Wood.
Of course.
And I started tracking their addresses. And this is when I found John M. Pierce. So I started looking into John M. Pierce. And I fucked his name up here. Sorry.
No worries.
I was like emotionally distraught and highly intoxicated at this point in time when I was doing this.
An average
No
state of
kidding.
mind for the hacker types, if people watching didn't know that, we get there a lot.
Well, what it involves is altering our neurochemistry with outside chemicals. I mean, that's, if you look at people who are incredibly good at what they do, they know what chemicals to ingest to stimulate certain responses inside of themselves that cause them to go into, Super Saiyan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, HiFi went. He ingested certain chemicals to activate certain parts of his brain to help him do better research and go what he's referring to as Super Saiyan, which I do know what that is for my kids in anime. Oh my goodness. Okay, HiFi, tell us more.
So yeah, Pierce Bainbridge, John and Pierce, jacked his name up. Whoops. But yeah, one of the big law firm closes its doors. I'm looking into this guy, and one of the things I find in the OSINT of this guy, somebody drops me a tweet. Hey, apparently Pierce Bainbridge is messed up. By this time, I'm keeping an eye on the.
This is like
statistics of this
Jackie
tweet.
Singh
About
level
15, 20,000
of
people
research.
have read this
Like-
tweet. So I don't mean seen it. I mean engaged with it, which are two completely different Twitter statistics, right?
Yep.
And yeah, he's
Like
being
just
sued.
throwing out
He's
names
being
that-
sued for a shitload of money.
just because.
And I'm like, are they grifting? Is John and Pierce grifting to pay off his bad debts?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money. And then I go farther down and I find this 360, this Law 360 article about this fellow named Don Lewis. And shout out to Don. Don's been through some shit, and Don is still fighting these assholes. His Twitter handle is Don Lew, DONLEW 87. He knows more about John M. Pierce. Here's what I know about John M. Pierce.
Oh,
John M. Pierce went to rehab for cocaine.
me too, Muggsy. Jesus.
John M. Pierce has anger issues. He's gotten physical with people. John M. Pierce sent his wife a shitload of nasty texts. So bad, his wife got restraining orders against him. Whatever happened with his ex-wife was so awful, his own kids don't want to see him anymore. What kind of, wow, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
you
gotta
be a bastard.
Yeah, you gotta be a right bastard for that to happen. Okay, all right. And whoever Basil at Hill Reporter is, shout out to them, because they were the first one to pick up. I don't know if they were picking up what I was
Nobody's
putting
picking up
down,
what you're
or they
putting
found
down,
it somewhere
HiFi.
else. I don't know, but they wrote an article. I'm sitting here tapping on my laptop on my lap. They wrote out this article, linked to law firm hired by Rudy Giuliani. And yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Rudy Giuliani and John Pierce work together. Okay, there's a little bit of a what the fuck, right?
Yep. You're starting
That's-
to follow it now, everybody. Like, you're starting to see how.
No.
Yeah,
Greg,
there's
no.
some shady crap in the UK with charities. There's this lawyer with a drug and anger problem and money problems.
I see a bunch of
And then Rudy
shitbags
Giuliani.
that are all
Okay.
rich and get away with stuff.
So there was a document that Don Lewis had, and I was reading through this document, and one of the lines in this document, I'm not even sure where that came from. More from Don Lewis. One of the things in this document was that John M. Pierce had gotten $1.8 million from a Russian banker
Sergey
shortly before all this
Grisham,
shit
who wants
started.
to end HiFi.
Okay, so we got Rudy Giuliani, we got a Russian banker. I'm sorry, that's thanks to high heaven.
And you've got
that's just,
some offshore UK charity house that seems to be built to, just be used by shady charities. And
yeah,
it continues to get worse, right?
yeah, it just looks worse and worse and worse, and I'm just like, holy shit, this is a grift. I don't know what's going on exactly, but yeah, Don Lewis, I mean, he was tearing Pierce up.
That was a long way to get
so,
to
yeah.
a charity
So
set
yeah,
up
I started going down
overseas
El
to
Linwood.
grift.
Oh, that sounds terrible. Going down the El Linwood rabbit hole. Like,
Yes.
who is this mother, dude? And he's a big old mess boy.
Oh, of course.
He
I
is-
mean, we've all learned a lot about him in the last 6 months.
Didn't
But
HiFi say in his interview with Heidi that he was so good at tech and IT that he could explain it to like the average person in layman's terms, and he was really good at it? Like, he can't explain this like complex thing. I can't imagine him explaining tech to somebody like me, for example, whatever he did in tech or does do in tech. I don't know, HiFi. Having some doubts about your skills.
back when you started going down this rabbit hole, none of us have heard of this guy.
Yeah, and like everybody knows about him using the racist slurs against his former. I can't tell if they were partners or associates or employees or people he worked with professionally. Came off some racist shit. Honestly, from the 1 a.m., 2 a.m. calls that he harassed people with, I wouldn't be surprised if he was into the cocaine too. To be
Yeah,
completely
I mean,
fair.
I'm not going to say I have any idea about him. Looks similar to other people I know who are.
Yeah, I mean, we've all dealt with our tweaked friends who got into some yayo, and the next thing you know, they're calling you. They're like, "Hey man, what are you doing? Can I come over? Want to play video games? Whatever, right?"
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Except this guy doesn't do that. He calls up his, professional colleagues and berates them how he's Jesus and he's going to bring the apocalypse down upon them or some crazy, some whacked out Dominionist end time crap, right?
Right.
All right. So I started going down all these holes, and so I called it an op, shoot him down.
Oh,
Why? Because, well, if you ever listen to Morphine, remember that band back in the day? Yeah, they got a song called Test Tube Babe, Shoot 'em Down. But yeah, shoot 'em down, because this is some bullshit what I'm seeing here. And at first I thought it was just some sort of weird grift, but then I went farther down the rabbit hole, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen now.
Okay.
And I'm going to pull. Are you ready? Sorry, we're working on these transitions still.
Yep.
Here goes. There. All right, cool. Now I'm going to open up something else. As I started going down all these rabbit holes.
Just for everyone out there who's watching right now, we came up with this screen so we could do a fuller screen share there while still being on screen with you 5 minutes before the stream went live. So our current method for him to be able to browse all around and come back is I turn off that screen share real quick. He does what he does, turns it back on. So, now that I have this, I will be working on it over the next couple days to make it a much cleaner how we handle this version of this. But I haven't used this before, so here we are.
Well, I'm a solution/sales architect.
Right.
We know HiFi.
So I got to do my presentation, man. This is how I do my business. Yeah. So hold on, let me share this desktop here.
Yep.
oh God, you guys
Here
are in.
comes.
Here comes another
And,
stringboard.
that one. There you go. And we're gonna blow up on this as much as we can. There we go. I apologize for the quality. I don't know if you
2023,
can read
and
that
he
or not,
has
but I'll walk
Can't
updated
you
even
his
all
read
through
it.
that.
springboard.
Okay, here.
Okay.
You'll have to
I'm gonna
use your mouse pointed things and then tell us what they are.
Okay. So here's what I found. Right.
He
Here's
does.
Kyle Rittenhouse over here, and here's the Give Send Go fundraiser right here. And here's this update at 9:05 p.m., which Greenwich Mean Time, as far as I can tell. And then there's Fight Back Law, right? Here's Fight Back Law. And over here is the Fight Back Foundation in the UK. What did I write there? Fight Back Foundation in UK.
Listening, yeah.
Fucking weird.
Yep.
Yeah, so that kind of threw me. So here's John Pierce. And here's John Pierce's, I can only call him a victim.
He put
I
this
think
together.
Don
He
Lewis
took
was
time,
victimized by John M. Pierce.
and he's presenting this.
Don Lewis has always been straight with me. Don Lewis is always, we don't even talk much. I asked him like 2 questions. Is this who I think it is? Read this. Okay. So I read that. And
Pretty simple.
and yeah, so I started looking into just all this stuff. And this guy right here, which you cannot see, but this fellow right here, I'm gonna tell you his name. His name is Sergey Grishin. And Sergey Grishin, he and I are gonna have Sergey. Coming for you, buddy. I hope you know that. Sergey Grishin.
He just threatened a Russian billionaire. He has given me, Muggsy, I'm telling you, I just have, sometimes when I watch them, I just have to take it in and kind of rub my, de-stress myself, stretch out a little bit. Think I'm not listening to them. Oh my gosh, I can't. Sergey. Thank God Serge is passed away because HiFi was coming for him. Probably pretty terrified. I cannot with this guy. I honestly can't. Oh, okay. HiFi, you're too much. Too much. Let me scroll back down here before I start this again. Oh gosh. Goodness sakes alive. He's coming for you. He's coming for you, Sergi. Okay.
If you start looking into him, he's in some lawsuits out in California. A woman named Jennifer Sulkus. And reading through Sergey Grishin's court papers is a goddamn nightmare.
He's a piece
he
of shit.
pistol whipped his wife, fucked her face all up. He told her he was going to kill her and every member of her family. He sent his ex-wife videos of him fucking sex workers. This is not a well man.
No, that person has a lot of problems.
That person has a lot.
And everyone near them
problems.
has problems by being near them.
Yeah. And who's he connected to?
Pierce.
John Pierce. Who, what does Pierce do? He apparently hits his wife, maybe, I don't know, but there's restraining orders, so that's generally not a good. Yeah. Okay. So we got.
So now to catch everyone up, we've got an overseas nonprofit. We have law firms connected all the way up to Rudy Giuliani and all the way down to pedophiles and wife beaters, and we've got cases of victims of the law firms themselves. We have an entire grift here made up of everyone you would expect if Rudy Giuliani was.
Thank you, Greg.
Basically.
Nice and easy, simple, done.
Right?
Yeah. And it gets worse and worse.
HiFi sounds
Sorry, man, just
defeated
thinking
that he
all
did
this
it that
shit,
easy.
right.
He's like, yeah, that's what it is.
And again, everyone, I'm just reading the chart over here, like same as you guys.
Yeah, that's what my chart says.
Dick Gregory once said, "Of course I'm crazy. I have every right to be crazy." It's kind of where I'm at right now, especially when you find out all the things I found out. Okay, so we have Fight Back Law. We have Ellen Wood. Actually, I haven't gone down this path, and I'll explain what happens when we get there. So Sergey Grishin, I start looking into Sergey Grishin. Sergey Grishin has or had a company called SGVC out in California. And I did a lot of research into all these. What Sergey likes to do is Sergey likes to create clouds of shell companies and companies around himself.
Billionaires do. They're
not unlike a Donald Trump.
I will say, just for the record, for everyone in chat who doesn't understand just how simple that is anymore these days, setting up an anonymous shell company where the state's actual administration, the state secretary in the state that is registered, and the state's local Department of Revenue, their IRS, do not know who you are and do not have your social security number, but you still have full ownership and control of it, is about a $200 proposition these days. It has gotten that cheap to do this shit.
So what I found through a lot of this is a lot of these shell companies, these registrations to a lot of these guys, they're made by a company called CSC. And looking into CSC, I actually found out that was owned by Jay Sekulow, who's the former chair of the SEC.
Yep.
But he didn't report that on his financial assets. He kind of did, because there was a company called, I think it was WSB or WBS Holdings. And WBS Holdings has there's nothing really there except for all this stuff for CSC. But when you look at CSC,
oh my gosh, HiFi.
They are a multinational service firm for corporations.
Yeah, I know of CSC because I'm a big sports guy, and they've been sponsoring all kinds of sports for 30 years.
Okay.
I see their name on everything, in cycling and all kinds of in football and soccer, all that, all over the place. Yeah. For decades. They're a large international company who can afford to throw away millions and millions of dollars on sports sponsorships.
Yeah, but it's funny that our chairman of the SEC didn't mention that. Weird, right?
Yeah.
Crazy. Anyway, I'm sure it was just an oversight. It's just coincidence. A paper, bookkeeping here, something. Anyway,
exactly.
Okay, so so SGVC, and who is an SGVC with Sergey Grishin, but a fellow he met in 2008 at Deutsche Bank. I think we all know about Trump and Deutsche Bank at this point in time, right?
I think
so. That's SGVC. And this fellow right here, Dovey Francis.
And we also know that almost all the money that went through Deutsche Bank to these types of causes, including to Trump, came from actual Russian investors.
Yeah,
so
it was
just.
Deutsche Bank was the pass-through for Russian oligarchs. Just period, end of story. And it's funny how Trump's personal banker retired, so she doesn't have to answer any questions anymore. Although honestly, I think they should subpoena her.
And the other one jumped out a window.
Jumped. There are so many deaths around Deutsche Bank. I feel bad for anybody who works there. I really do.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna get hit. They're just. And when I say, murder. You're gonna get got. You're gonna get arrested. If you are at Deutsche Bank and you are engaged in felonious activity, you're done. Right now, just so you know. Anyway, so we have Dovey Francis, and Dovey Francis. You look into him, and he's done all sorts of stuff, right? He was on Shark Tank, lots of stuff. He was on Shark Tank in Israel, and he's a Silicon Valley sweetheart. Silicon Valley sweetheart, fintech, financial technology.
Yeah.
Yeah,
financial technology.
Stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So he's at Deutsche Bank. He's doing fintech, but he's working with the Sergey guy. And one of the things I like about Sergey Grishin, I love this when I found it. There's a video. If you look up globalist banker brags Sergey Grishin, you'll find a video of Sergey Grishin running his mouth to President Trump about how he stole $60 billion from the state bank of Russia.
That's what he's known for.
Of course.
60 billion.
That and beating women, HiFi.
Not a few million. Nah, 60 billion.
Why not? They didn't need it.
They didn't need it. But what do we know about Russia? We know no crime happens in Russia without Putin's okay.
Yep.
Just period in the story, right? Putin is organized crime. It's hard to tell, honestly, between the two of them. I actually think Semyon Mogilevich is the smarter one. I think he's the.
Putin's the pretty one they put on horseback.
Yeah. Putin has some good ideas, and Putin's dirty and he can lay the law down. But I think Semyon Mogilevich, like, man, I would hang out with Semyon. I mean, I know he's a bastard and he's a monster and he does all these horrible things, but the guy's absolutely fucking brilliant. I'm sorry.
And we like the Russians. He accuses us of being Russian ops and loving Russians. HiFi wants to go hang out with this dude and talk to him.
Oh, I would love to pick his brain. I would also love to see him thrown off the roof of a building, like at the same time. Like, you know, could we have a conversation first? Sure, but I also want the second thing to happen too. I understand wanting to talk to someone that intelligent for a minute before, like, whatever happens. I get
right.
I don't honestly,
for that. Honestly, I kind of want to put him on an island that he can never get off of and just go visit him. Right? He's so, yeah. Anyway.
Of course you do, HiFi.
And yeah, so we have Dovey Francis, who's this fintech wizard of Silicon Valley, working with this Russian banker thief. Now, I don't know about you, but when I hear Russian banker thief and Silicon Valley fintech, yeah, they're doing bad shit.
Of course, the first thing I think of every time someone says any of those types of words mixed up together is Peter Thiel. That's where my head goes.
Well, we'll get down that road in a second. So Dovey Francis, you look into Dovey Francis, and you know, before he was at Deutsche, he actually worked at PayPal. Go figure, worked at PayPal. Or worked at PayPal.
Like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk.
Yeah, Peter Thiel and Elon Musk and Joseph Lonsdale.
Oh my gosh.
Joseph Lonsdale. That's another one I want. Anyway, so yeah, Dovey Francis, Sergey Grishin. And
isn't that weird,
Lonsdale?
Not, it wasn't just me, right?
Group 11 VC.
What's a weird fantasy?
All these PayPal guys working at this venture capital firm. Wonder where they're getting all the money. It wouldn't have anything to do with the fact that Dovey Francis literally created a virtual bank called Lily, would it? It wouldn't have anything to do. It might. It wouldn't have anything to do with his card payment system called Tipalti. That you know what their big success was? They are the payment system under GoDaddy. Which, if you look at GoDaddy, and
it's a large amount of payments.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, think about it. Because of the FinCEN rules, right? Anything over 10K gets a ping. Just period.
Absolutely.
So how do you move a shitload of money in small batches?
Got the lottery.
Well, yeah, I could run $20 all day through GoDaddy.
Yep.
Buying up some domains. GoDaddy gets to skim a little bit. They get their payment. And the rest of it goes through their payment system, and poof, that money just becomes, hey, it's a washing machine. It's awesome. Love it.
And
I'm just saying that this is
GoDaddy is not a good person. Everyone saw the pictures of him out there with his elephant gun shooting elephants and all kinds of
not
other
just
fun
that.
stuff.
Did you hear about the Christmas thing?
Yeah. There's nothing good about when you hear a story about him. So
yeah, well, and then he wanders off from GoDaddy. He's doing this YAM thing.
Yep.
YAM.
I already forgot what we were talking about. That's how,
we talk about that in a minute.
like,
but
just
he's doing this
going
YAM
into
thing, and I can't figure out what
HiFi.
YAM does. Are they a media
You're a terrible storyteller.
company, or
I can't figure it out either.
Yeah, YAM is a mystery. Somebody should cut open YAM and figure out what it does.
So now we're down to Dovey.
So we have Dovey.
And we're now down past that. We've got a bunch of
Move
money.
them along,
We've got
Greg.
Deutsche
Move them
Bank.
along.
We've got Russian money involved, and
We've got Silicon Valley. We've got PayPal.
Yep.
So I'm this is how I kind of did. I'm following down this column right here. So this white thing right here. Dovey was a company commander in the Israeli army.
Yep.
And when Dovey got out of the army and went to school, I forget the name of the school, but I know its initials are like VG. He had a roommate, and his roommate was a fellow named Dror Berman.
Oh, Dror
Right?
Berman.
Yep. And Dror Berman was Unit 8200, which I mean, I follow security kinda, right? I know who Unit 8200 is.
Yeah.
Those dudes are badass. I mean, they got mad skills. Matter of fact, you know where they just found a bunch of Unit 8200 guys? At a company called NSO Group, and Pegasus and all the spyware. Interesting.
Again, that's another one of those they're skilled. I don't like what they do kind of group of people.
I mean, I respect the skills. I respect mad skills. That's the way I am.
It's
like
I don't like what they're doing.
Because you have violent thoughts, HiFi.
I think they're doing horrible, awful things. But if you look at, because we live in a capitalist system and because money is everything in our system, they're going to do whatever they're going to do. And if they're amoral sociopaths/psychopaths, they're going to do what they do to survive and get on top.
And that's what it takes. You have to be an amoral
That's what
sociopath.
HiFi wants to be.
I've got skills and I'm
That's
bored,
his
and
dream.
I'm not going to go work for these people.
Or
Yeah, I sucked it
read
up, man,
your
because I wanted to
messages,
replicate my
HiFi.
genome and have
Dream
children
of
and all that. So
Kids, 3 of them.
yeah, got some kids. Anyway, we'll talk about that because as I'm finding these things out, I'm getting angrier and angrier and angrier at what I'm finding. So Dovey Francis and this Dror Berman, Unit 8200, hacker guru dude. Here's Dror underneath the white thing. They run this thing in Silicon Valley called Icon. Icon is it's very hush hush, invite only. Israeli military coming to Silicon Valley and seeing what the new wave of tech is. Except they have a fucking website and they blab all about who the people are who work with them. And so I'm not sure how hush hush is that. We're very hush hush, but here's everybody's doing it. Wow, check it out. That to me is that is clout chasing. If you were really doing hush hush important shit, you would keep your mouth shut. So they run this Icon thing. But if you look at the corporate structure of Icon, it's a nonprofit. that's actually nestled inside another nonprofit called the Oshman Family Jewish Center out in California. And because I have Jewish family and Jewish friends, I've grown up in Jewish community centers, East Coast Manhattan, and most of them are barely scraping by, or maybe they're doing okay with a couple endowments, right?
Yep.
This Oshman Family Jewish Center has $38 million in assets. Not in the building, not in their, no, in cash, liquid.
Yeah.
I know, right?
That's a pretty well-funded Jewish community center.
Yeah. It's a little more than the average. Let's Yeah.
And then there was some stuff about the Kodak gifts to Oshman, but I forget where that panned out, so I didn't really.
He's going to be wrapping up here in a few minutes with this, and then weirdly it goes to an Amber Heard, Elon Musk, and Grimes story, and then we're going to move into the Jim HiFi era with Kurt Tanner. But yeah, when the Elon Musk Heard thing comes in, I was like, what are we talking about here?
Really follow that closely. But what I did find out about Dror Berman is he had this thing going with Eric Schmidt from Google.
Yep.
And it was called Innovation Endeavors. Eric Schmidt, well, hasn't he turned out just to be a joy?
You know you will.
Yeah, they got rid of that for very obvious
they did.
reasons. But one thing we do know about Eric Schmidt is that he has outside of the norm sexual behaviors.
We do, but I don't kink shame.
I don't kink shame either. However,
shouldn't high-five.
generally, an indicator
You know
of
why.
one type of deviancy may be an indicator of other types of deviancy.
Of course, there's correlation.
Especially when connected with this particular column of people. Right?
Sure. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right, so we got Dror Berman, we got Eric Schmidt of Google, and we'll talk about Google here in a few. Dovey Francis, so bounce back to Dovey Francis. Dovey Francis has a wife, and Dovey Francis' wife is named Roni Eshel.
Jesus.
So we started looking at Roni Eshel. Roni Eshel
fucking
actually,
story.
she runs two companies that I found. One is called
No wonder Heidi won't let you tell this.
Media.
Jim's
And I
Flynn
looked
story was
into
bad.
GoFlow Media, and GoFlow Media is kind of a like surfer lifestyle. Hey, if you're into healthy stuff and yoga and stuff like that, you should get on GoFlow. Okay, and it never looked. I mean, they had like a pseudo app that was kind of half developed. Never really looked like it went anywhere, right? It was just kind of vaporware, from what I can tell. But what I found very interesting about GoFlow Media is it has two physical locations. One out in California, out in LA, and the other is located in Cyprus. I don't know. I've never
Nice
been
place
to
to
Cyprus.
send your money.
How's the surfing in Cyprus? I've never
The
been.
waves aren't that large there.
I don't know. I don't track
Why
the
would you have a
waves in Cyprus.
surfing lifestyle app in Cyprus? Weird.
Like,
Unless,
good
of course,
place
you
to send
knew-
your money.
It's a good place to send your money. Yes, it's a good place to send your money. It's also a good place to get money. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if your company in Cyprus generates a whole bunch of profits, you could bring them back to your American company, right? Just depends, I guess, really. And the other thing I found out that was pretty interesting is Sergey Grishin has a company in Cyprus too, oddly enough. And it's called Red Alliance. These people have got to get better with their naming conventions because they suck at it.
Yeah.
Red Alliances.
What was the one
So
that
I've got a Russian guy.
oh, he's Blue Anon's favorite now. The Ukrainian guy that was running around with Rudy Giuliani. What was their group called? Like Crime Inc. or something? I can't think of the guy's name right now. He had the documentary that was on MSNBC with Rachel Maddow. He apologized to Hunter Biden. Can't think of his name because I've never paid attention to him that much. But he was the new hot hero because he felt so bad for what he did trying to take down the Bidens. But I think their group was like Crime Inc. or something. Like they actually named themselves that. Yeah, Lev Parnas. Thank you. Wasn't there a group called like Crime Inc. or something? Like they named it so like, hey, we're criming. Look at us.
Doing Silicon Valley venture capital with so far like 3 members of the PayPal mafia. Which, if you don't know what the PayPal mafia is, look it up. Those articles are out there. Here's the
It
thing.
just basically describes the early founders of PayPal and all the ones that checked out with money and sent PayPal off down its way, so it ended up being part of eBay.
Yeah, except I don't think they were joking.
Either do I.
Yeah. See what all of these people like to do, what Trump liked to do.
Yeah, the fascists, exactly.
They spouted what they were going to do on me. They straight up said, I'm going to do these things. And then they did them. And it was like, how could they do that? I'm like, yo, they said it.
Yeah. Did you not hear them?
Yeah, why would they say that and then actually do it? Because that is gangster as fuck.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
not
tell you, guess
everything
what? I'm
has to
gonna
be
fuck you up.
nefarious.
And then 6 weeks later, you get fucked up. It wasn't me, but I fucked you up somehow. Well, guess what? I'm here to fuck Sergey Grishin up. I am going to fuck him all the way up. And yeah, so Bank of Cyprus. Oh, Bank of Cyprus. If you look at the time period when these companies were set up and they were running in Cyprus, you find a lot of very interesting things going on in Cyprus. One, Wilbur Ross was the member of the board of the Bank of Cyprus.
Of course he was.
Of course he was. What do you mean? What do you mean it's a conflict of interest for the Secretary of Commerce of the United States to be a member of the board of the Bank of Cyprus, notorious money laundering haven? Anyway, yeah. So you got Roni Eshel with companies there. You've got Sergey Grishin with companies there. You've got Wilbur Ross. By the way, Wilbur Ross did authorize a bunch of big Russian oligarch transactions while he was there.
Yep.
You know who else was there? There was a guy who used to be the CEO of Deutsche Bank. Worked with Wilbur Ross at the Bank of Cyprus.
Oh my God.
Now, of course, all of this is simply circumstantial
I'm
things
Team
going
Heidi
on.
for not letting you tell the story. Don't make me be
It's
Team
also
Heidi.
accountants the other thing.
Yeah, it's just all, well, as you can see here, it's all connected.
Yeah.
So we look into Roni Eshel some more. Roni Eshel has another company, right? Roni Eshel has another company called 421 Media. And I may someday get that account back from Twitter. It depends on how, if we can get rid of the fascists and the alt-right
You never get your Twitter
infiltrators at
account
Twitter, I might
back,
get that account back.
HiFi.
But basically what happened is I started talking about all this stuff on Twitter and started pointing out that all these people were connected. And I got suspended. That's crazy.
That's
crazy.
Yeah, I know, crazy, right? But along my rabbit holing and all the people I met, one of them was a reporter named Bill, and I'm just going to use his last initial now, Bill M. And I talked to Bill M. and I said, this is what I figured out.
Other people, connection, ding, ding, ding. That's exactly what it is. And HiFi, maybe if you came back like a normal person and laid low and didn't immediately go into troll mode and were disgusting, people wouldn't care that you created a Twitter account, but you can't do that. You can't, because other people have come back to Twitter and like have the second account or whatever, even after, ban evading or whatever. You come back and you can't stop yourself. That's why you're not on Twitter.
I think something fucked up is going on here. And so I started August 28th. When I talked to Bill M, it was about 8 or 9 days later. And I said, this is what I think I figured out. What do you think about this? And he said,
you're rude.
We've been examining this for 14 months and you're exactly right. So I knew I was going somewhere, right? And I start screaming about it on Twitter.
And then you get suspended.
And then I get suspended. But I don't just get suspended, bro. I don't just get suspended. No. We'll get to that in a second. I'm going to go down this Roni Eshel. So she's got this company called 421 Media, right? So I start looking at 421 Media and I do some more research on Sergey Grishin. Sergey Grishin created, this dude is so crazy. He created a website about his ex-wife and put all these pictures up on there.
Yeah,
and
persecuted martyr. That's a great one.
Accused his ex-wife of like being in a torrid love affair, and he's gonna just like freaking out, right? On a website. Like, not like, I don't know what he was hoping to accomplish. All I can think is he was trying to undermine anything his ex-wife said.
You have to keep in mind too, he has 3 children while he's doing all this and a wife. And he will blame everybody but anything else that was going on in his life at that moment, whether he was spending too much time online, he was too focused on all of this stuff, losing his job because he was too focused and using their hashtags to promote things. It's everybody else's fault but his own personal responsibility in his life. It's the trolls, it's the ops, it's Sergi, it's Lynn Woods Network. It's everybody else but HiFi. Same with Heidi and Jim. Nobody takes personal accountability for their actions. It has to be somebody else.
No, she's whatever. She's awful. Don't listen to her. Okay, so Love and Treason 12, interesting. Except there's one thing I found. Love and Treason 12, Sergey Grishin's website, was actually using the security certificate from 421 Media. Which, if 421 Media is Roni Eshel's company, why does Sergey Grishin have her certificate? And then you look a little more, and Love and Treason 12, newfusiontech.com, and 421 Media are all hosted on the same server.
Isn't that like his meme
so they all
company
have the same
or
server.
something?
All 3 of those websites were using the 421 Media SSL cert. I actually snagged the cert. I have a download of it.
HiFi, it's been years.
Yeah, they're all.
This is all over.
In so many different ways. And okay, so
Muggsy, I'm going to start doing that.
Just Fight Back Law, right?
Yep.
HiFi, he psyoped me to say it the other way.
Right here, L. Lynn Wood.
HiFi got in my head.
So I started looking into L. Lynn Wood.
Kidding, HiFi, you did.
So I know I've got PayPal in the mix. I know I've got Dovey Francis in the mix. So I start looking at Ellen Wood and I start going back through all these old big cases and everything, right? And one of the biggest cases I found that Ellen Wood did that is connected to this entire Visio I've been putting together. And mock me all you want for using Visio, but I'm a solutions architect. That's what I had to do. Anyway, I should probably use like LucidGraph or something. I don't know. Who knows? So
Who cares?
Ellen Wood was in a lawsuit against one of the PayPal guys. Against one of the PayPal guys. Well, that's weird.
It's not weird.
And the lawsuit
He hired
was
him.
Joseph Lonsdale versus Elise Clardy. And you can read about this case online. Basically, Elise accused Joseph Lonsdale of beating her, raping her, and torturing her.
Yes.
Sorry, I just think about all the things I read in the lawsuit, and
It's horrible. Every bit of it is it's disgusting.
I'll tell you what, man. If I hadn't spent time, like I used to spend literal weeks, like months of my life on Rotten.com. Remember Rotten?
I do.
Remember Ogrish? You remember Ogrish.com?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was all about desensitizing myself back in the day because that's how we existed back then. We were monsters. Let's face it, we were terrible. It was great. It was fun. But we're not that now. Well,
now some of the stuff actually gets to us.
Yeah. Now the stuff gets to again, man. I got kids. You know, I think about what if that was my mom or my wife or my daughter. You know.
It really bothers me that he's using what happened to this woman as like, I am the hero and women shouldn't be treated like this. And then he will at the same time go on Twitter and post the most disgusting thing about women and against other men about their mothers and their wives and their, you know, it's so gross. Fuck off, HiFi, go fuck yourself.
Very visceral reaction to these things. And anger,
they
so
do it all
anger,
the time. Back in the day.
But Ellen Wood represented Elise.
We live in the glory days.
Elise
it's
had,
over.
You know, all this testimony. She had, I don't know what the evidence was exactly. I didn't get all the evidence from it. But here's a funny thing. You know what Joseph Lonsdale did in retaliation to Elise Clardy? He created a website. And
as
put
a
up
woman,
all
I don't need HiFi on my
saying,
side.
you know,
That's
I'm
all
sorry
I'm
we
saying.
fought. I'm sorry these things happened. I want to work it out. See, one thing, and I haven't told you this, they met at Stanford University, right?
He's the last thing an abused woman needs on their
Elise
fucking
Clardy
side
was
too,
a
because
very
I've seen the way
young
he writes.
neuroscience researcher. You can't be stupid and go into neuroscience. You know, this is not a dumb woman.
Fucking incredible.
And she was a
he
model.
talks.
I guess some people find her attractive. I'm not into blondes all that much, so I don't see it. But she was a model. So you know, she modeled, and so model neuroscience. I can see how someone would think she's a complete package, right?
I'm gonna pause real quick. This is the article. If anybody cares, it's really in depth about what Sergey did to these women, and it is really quite disgusting. But it's a really good interview that Mother Jones did. The escape from billionaire meme mogul. Women in multiple countries have been living in fear of Sergey Grishin. Now they're fighting back. These women really went through hell, not fucking HiFi. And he reported me for a DMCA takedown or anything like that. No, these women went through it, not fucking HiFi. I'm sorry. He just really pisses me off when he talks about women and like this whole martyrdom and falling on his knife for us. And he's a knight in white shining armor. No, you're not. We don't need you.
So Joe Lonsdale, what he does is he manipulates his way into becoming her mentor at Stanford. Yep. And wonder of wonders, they start a relationship. Oh my goodness. And that's when all this evil shit happens. So she goes to sue Joe Lonsdale after the fact. And who reps her but one Ellen Wood. And she loses. And she loses for two reasons. One, she sent a text message to her mother's friend, Mary. I think Mary's the name. I'm not sure of the source who gave me the name. But she sent a text message to her mother's friend. And it said, it's time to go. I forget. It was like basically it's time to go beat up Joe. Right. And honestly, with what I tend to believe victims, I mean, who makes up horrible shit like that? I don't think the average person, especially this girl, young, highly sheltered, very Catholic parents, she's not like we were as kids, man. Yeah, she's like as far as you can get from what we were as possible. And Mary goes on the stand and says, yeah, it was all set up. We're just trying to get Joe's money. Well, here's the thing. If I'm her attorney and I want to get her pumped up and get her going, it's not hard, especially with someone who's been through trauma like that. I mean, you look around where I live in Northeastern Ohio, there's a running joke, Misney makes them pay, right? I mean, you're her attorney. You're her knight in shining armor. You're going to pump her up and get her going. So yeah, it would be very, very easy for me to manipulate a young girl to do something stupid, like send a text like that. Hey, don't tell Mary we're going to go beat Joe's ass right now. Right? I'm not saying it did happen. I'm saying
Linwood could have easily convinced her to send that text, which then, leads to the end of the case.
Yeah, and everything falls. And the question I have is, I want to find this friend of the mother, Mary. I want to see what her bank account looks like. Starting at as soon as this ends, or it doesn't even have to be your bank account. It could be a country club membership.
Yeah,
some yes, something, right? So we've got this Joseph Todd Lonsdale who's accused of all this god awful shit. And he works with Sergey Grishin, who's been accused of all this god awful shit.
And has admitted on audio and video, which everyone can go see on the internet, that he stole billions from the Russian government.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is not a good person anyway. His associates are, it's that whole, your friends speak volumes of.
Boy, do they, Greg.
Right,
boy, howdy.
Right. And they all exhibit the same kind of behavior. They're violent sexual predators. Right?
100%.
I mean, that's to me, it seems like what they are. All right. So, okay, Elwin Wood represented Joe Lonsdale, big fucking deal. Or no, he didn't represent Joe Lonsdale. He fought him. All right, yeah, maybe he was controlled opposition. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the next time Elwin Wood pops up with all these assholes, he's representing Pedo Cave Guy.
You really shouldn't call him Pedo Cave Guy,
Indeed,
because that's what Elon called him. That's
against
really
Elon Musk.
degrading to that guy.
I mean, that one should have been slam dunk, man. That was like, dude did it on Maine. Everybody knew who he was talking about.
Yeah.
Like these two were, slap fighting on Twitter.
Quite obvious
the
definition.
guy
That's
that Elon
that's
Musk
textbook.
accused of being a pedophile.
He lost.
He did. Linwood is not a good lawyer. I will also set that out there.
No, he's not a good lawyer, but it just seems kind of funny that he pops up with those specific people.
Yeah, he keeps fighting against that group of people and losing. It would be a very interesting bit of controlled opposition.
Yeah, absolutely. Manipulation of the legal system by making sure that the attorneys you want to get in against people who are coming for you.
Everything's a conspiracy when you're looking for conspiracies.
They probably don't have the phones they had back when all this occurred. You probably won't be able to find the communications if there were anything. But the only thing I can think that would be a pretty good indicator would be a payoff to Mary, the mom's friend in Lonsdale's case.
It's an interesting line of investigation, though. Like if that was possible to be found, that would be pretty damning for a few people.
Right. Okay, but so all right. Well, he represents himself, or Ellen Wood represents Pedo Cave Guy. Sorry, I forget his name. It's like Uru or something like that. I forget his exact name. So hey, Elon Musk works PayPal, right?
HiFi's getting serious. He took his tie off.
A little bit. Elon Musk was recently involved in a little bit of a dust-up. And that dust-up involved Johnny Depp. And it involves one Amber Heard, right? Yep. And if you look at all the testimony and you look at everything that was said and all the blah, blah, blah. And, Elon Musk, I feel so bad for you, Amber.
And slow this part down a little
security,
bit because this is new information.
Even though we all know, of course, that Amber Heard was the abuser.
Amber Heard was the abuser, but she was also abused. Amber Heard was abused by Elon Musk. And how do I know that? Or how do I think I know that? For the simple fact that the people who worked in Amber Heard's building testified to the fact that Amber Heard had facial bruising and bruises on her neck after Elon Musk spent the night.
Yes, I read about that one.
Yeah. Okay, well, maybe not, right? Except if you look more into Elon Musk, he's married to this whatever her name is, Claire.
Get ready for this bank here.
Yeah.
And if you look for the pregnancy belly shot that her belly's all cut up. And if you look at the cuts on her belly, the cuts on her belly could not have been made by her because of the angles they were at. They were on the sides of the belly as well as the front of the belly. The hand positioning for doing that to yourself is all wrong. I'm going to guess they were done from in front of her by a right-handed man. I'm going to guess. I'm a solutions architect. I'm not a
forensic scientist.
Yeah.
But sure. It definitely looks like he might be someone who's abusing these people.
Yeah.
So I don't know anything about the Elon Musk. I didn't even know Elon Musk hooked up with Amber Heard. I don't follow celebrities. Never liked Elon. I didn't. So apparently there were news reports that Elon Musk
beat up Amber Heard. And now we're to, if you find this photo of Grimes and you look it up online, she's pregnant and there are cuts on her belly, but she couldn't have done them herself. So therefore, they're implying that Elon cut her belly. I didn't like a lot of baking, like QAnon stuff. Like, it's really fucking insane. Insane. Oh, does he know about the story? I've never heard it. For some reason, this whole Elon belly cut up thing, I've totally missed it. And then, what was I going to say? Another thing that was interesting in this is HiFi saying that Amber Heard was the abuser and agreeing, because Jim has a theory that someone within our group was paid by Russian influence operations to attack Amber Heard because she was a victim. And so therefore it was Russian ops, because this person within our group was posting about the trial and different things. And I guess they took a side, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard being the abuser. I don't know. I've never looked at those tweets because I think the whole thing's ridiculous. But Jim has presented this as being a Russian PSYOP influence operation. So here you have HiFi saying Amber Heard was the abuser, and then you have Jim saying it's a Russian PSYOP influence by somebody in our group. They're fucking not all. It's not a full box of crayons. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Especially when other people who we know have.
Yeah, and so you know that whole school of thought with sexual predators work alone. Honestly,
exactly.
I think that's a load of shit. I think they work in packs. I think they find each other, and I think they band together.
People like in groups where everyone is of the same mindset. It's a way to tell yourself what you're doing is okay because everyone else you know is okay with it.
I must have tuned out, Muggsy. I mean, yeah. Spencer, I must have tuned out.
If you know someone has engaged in a crime and you have evidence of that crime,
I hear his name and my voice just tunes him out.
Of course.
Yeah. Why do you think Sergey Grisham made the video where he's bragging about stealing all that money? He actually made that video because he was begging Donald Trump to get into the to remain in the country and to be granted like citizenship status or something, right? That was his confession he gave to Trump. Okay, weird. But then you find out about the letter that Roger Stone wanted from Joel Greenberg. That was a confession.
Yeah.
It's all about the leverage. You're not going to turn me in. I'm not going to turn you in because we know about each other's crimes, right? So that's something to consider. All right. So Elon Musk, and then we scroll down from Elon Musk. PayPal. And then we find, we got Peter Thiel and Joseph Lonsdale.
Back to 2 times speed till we get to the next
Palantir, right? So over here, Palantir, whatever it is. It's the fucking seeing stones from Lord of the Rings.
We got to get through HiFi's chart.
Palantir?
Right. It's basically a private surveillance company. I mean.
Yeah. Well, it's more than just a private surveillance company. It's a data aggregation company.
Of course. But
and
if why one of their terminals are getting used, it's quite powerful.
Yeah. I mean, you can pull data sources from all sorts of crap. But if you look into some of the history of Palantir, they were part of the HB Gary thing with the Anons, right? Remember that? Yeah. Palantir taught Cambridge Analytica how to scrape data.
Yep.
Yeah. We know from watching the movie The Great Hack that data was stolen and used by Cambridge Analytica to build psychographic profiles of people, right?
Yep.
I found it interesting in The Great Hack, one of the things they didn't talk about was vulnerabilities, identifying vulnerabilities in the psychographic profiles. But that actually came next in our cute little saga that we're going around here. Sorry, I forgot I lost my train. Oh, Palantir. So it was about this time. It was VMworld 2020, and I just caught, hey, there's this new movie coming out. People you may know. And here's a link to an article. I caught this on Twitter, so I clicked on the article, and it was an article on DW. If you know DW, they're a European media company. But if you actually Google letters DW space Cambridge Analytica, the article should come up. And what it talks about is a data company.
He wants everybody to go look at his research.
Data, how they handle the data may have been criminal, especially if it has self-reported medical information, because that would be a violation for sharing that. But people shouldn't be shared for that. But this whole People You May Know movie, 2020, Charles Creel, had to do with this company called Gloo, Gloo, right? And what Gloo was doing is it was finding information on people that had to do with money problems, relationship problems, mental health issues, drug addiction, things like this, right? In the hacker community, why do we look for vulnerabilities? We want to exploit them. And that's what these data companies are doing. They're exploiting vulnerabilities in people. They ultimately, what it comes down to, if you look at the history of Russian money in Silicon Valley, Twitter, Facebook, those were the prototypes and still are the biggest delivery systems for the malware payloads into people's brains and they were paid for. They were funded by. They were funded by Russians. We know Yuri Milner. I mean, if you've paid attention at all to Facebook, Yuri Milner, Yurimilner. Yuri Milner used to hang out in Silicon Valley. There's another one out there called Masha Drovka, aka Putin's Kiss. Zini, actually, Zini Jardin. Remember Zini from Boing Boing?
Also, Oleg Deripaska funneled a lot of money into the early Silicon Valley startups.
Oleg Deripaska built solely with Huawei out in Siberia.
Yeah.
For Bitcoin mining. It's basically Bitcoin mining and data operations is what they're doing.
Yeah.
There. Absolutely ridiculous, right?
Yep. Anyways, yeah. So now we've got this big map that everyone has been showing here. And one, it shows like just how deep these connections go. It also shows some interesting possible illegal activity, which, we don't have proof of, but I do like how that plays out with Linwood there in terms of how it describes a very possible, in fact, in my mind, probable illegal activity. And all of this ties right back to Fight Back Law.
Yeah. So here's where it gets really, really
I
good.
thought Greg
Joseph
was
Todd
going to talk
Lonsdale.
longer.
His brother, Jonathan Lonsdale, that is, he worked at Palantir. Oops, I'm thinking on the wrong laptop. Palantir. I'm going to call it Palantir just because I know it'll piss Peter Thiel off. By the way, Peter Thiel, guy is a total Lord of the Rings dork. Hardcore. Like, if you look at the companies that Peter Thiel has surrounded himself with, he has a Lembas. Remember Elven Bread from Lembas Bread? He's got a company in that. He has a company named Valar, which is real estate. Gee, what can we do with real estate?
I mean, just like all the Middle Eastern money laundering through London by owning the mansions in downtown and never living in them.
Yeah. Well, and also driving up the cost of living, driving up the cost of property. Using capitalism to make certain levels of capitalism unobtainable for the average
If
person.
this is how any of his tech presentations went, I feel sorry
and
for
also
the
what
people
this
in
comes
the
down to,
audience.
it's class warfare because, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, Jonathan Lonsdale has a company in Austin, Texas that goes by the name Asteroid Property Management. It doesn't sound like a very interesting name, except you also figure out that he is running a software company called Ender. Ender's Game, right? Yeah. Do you remember what the asteroid room was for?
No.
Battle training.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was like real life.
Remember?
Yeah.
So basically what they did, like,
So he's a
if you look at
nerd
Joseph
and
Lonsdale,
created a company after his
all
favorite
his
game.
shady looking companies that are like, what's
They
going
stole
on here
a
exactly,
billionaire
all
as a
Greek.
piece of shit.
Like he's got like the Cicero Institute, right? And he's got all these other Greek named companies in his little swarm of companies around him. Peter Thiel has all these Lord of the Ring names. They've got Anduril. Chuck Johnson, with Peter Thiel's money, went out and created Anduril, which one is that? I think that's the one where they're trying to build drones with Anthony Tata, which we know Anthony Tata likes hanging out with Michael Flynn, right? Of course, Anthony Tata. Yeah, they're trying to put AI in drones, basically, so they can make assassin drones and go after people. I mean, all these fuckers do is kill, man. Like, they don't make things better. They don't make things. Fuck these dudes.
Yeah.
Take the jacket off.
So I'm
Hi-Fi,
going
you're
down,
getting
I'm going down,
hot.
and I found
Getting
pretty much
mad.
all of
You're
this.
getting stuff worked up.
So you got this Ender property in Austin, Texas, which, I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying it's not, but I'm sorry, real estate and a bunch of billionaires and Russians, that just screams money laundering. Just screams
It does.
Yeah, and then you look at this Peter Thiel connection, Jeff Garcia, right?
Yep.
And I wrote the name here wrong, but Jeff Garcia was running QMap.pub.
Yep.
And he was part of the Deplorables and MAGA 3X with Cernovich and all the fucking
And now we're to Jim's.
guys who never grew up and like learned to treat women well. All those jackasses. Fucking Hot Wheels, him too. Sorry. So anyway, I'm going down all these rabbit holes, right? And I've got documentation, I've got proof, I've got the OSINT. And I meet up with a fellow named Jim Stoops.
Let me slow down here. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Let's take this down too. All right, here we go.
Jim. And Jim pulls me into a chat room.
That would be Kurt Tanner.
Kurt.
Yep.
I'm just like, yo, what the fuck's going on here? And Jim's like, well, I kind of going down this thing, and these other people I met were in this thing, and there's some shit going on. Well, I handed him this. I handed him this diagram that I had made.
So HiFi
I said, this is what I found out.
Kurt
And I
Tanner
kind of did what we just did. I went over it, right? And that's when shit started getting really crazy. Jim, and I knew QAnon was part of this bullshit somehow, but I didn't know exactly how. At this point in time, I still thought QAnon was a counter op started by, like, you guys know what I mean when I talk about the Lolly Gang. Like, remember Lolly Chan?
Yeah.
Yeah. I call those assholes the Lolly Gang, right? They're a bunch of fucking dudes who like preying on young girls, right?
Yeah, which are absolutely horrible human beings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
But I should have humanity, and I don't want to eliminate them from the face of the earth. I want to put them somewhere where they cannot harm people.
No, I don't have that left in me anymore. I hope they all get hit by buses going really fast.
I want that to be burned out of me, man, but I can't. And here's why.
It's not leaving me. It's not leaving me. I definitely feel like violence towards them is the answer. Personal opinion.
The vast majority of the people who engage in abusing children sexually were themselves abused as children.
Yeah, there's a lot of evidence to that, but at the same time, sorry, these people, especially that group specifically of people, Chad doesn't know a lot of what they did, but just imagine if Chans were only worse. I don't know how better to say that.
Right, put it this way, young females in my family that I know have swatted pedos, and there have been no repercussions. So,
yeah.
But me as an individual,
you're trying to get rid of the hate?
trying to get rid of the hate because I got a lot of hate right now.
I have it in very specific directions, and that's one of them.
Fair.
But
I don't know. I look at these people who offend, and I can't not see the child that they once were and what was done to them to make them that way. But then you have other ones like, remember that GOP staffer, that Rubin fucker?
Yeah. Talking
about raping babies.
Yeah.
Don't ever put me in a room with him because somebody's not leaving. Like, yeah, that doesn't fly. Anyway, so I meet Jim Stewart. I'm actually going to stop the show on this.
Okay. So in chat, just to say it out loud, Portia has put in an interesting stat from a study that says of a study of more than 38,000 less than 4% were actually abused as children. Looks like.
Really?
Yeah. So it looks like that's a stat that's put forward by the abusers in order to cover their asses, is what the study's come up with. I mean, I'm reading that right, basically, right, Portia? Like, that's what the study figured out? Yeah. I mean, I would believe that too. Those specific type of people would definitely make up that story. Like, I mean, that if you find a way that society will let you off.
They suckered me, those fuckers.
Yeah, you were trying to be nice. You were trying to be a good human, and no, they
all can't even be fucking nice, man.
They all deserve our ire.
So,
wow. Okay, yeah.
So
anyway, so let's talk about. Are we screen sharing again, or are we done with screen share for now?
We're done with the screen share for now.
Okay, so let's.
Thank God.
Can I hide video from this one? Nope, it doesn't let me do that. Cool. Okay, whatever. Damn
whatever.
Chat. We'll
just have my name sitting there.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways,
whatever.
Maybe I can. There we go. See, look at that. I'm getting good at this.
Yeah, right. Learning new skills, man. That's what we do.
So let's tie some of this back together, because we start out at Kyle Rittenhouse. We start out finding this UK nonprofit. We start finding all the people involved turn out to be all of these people, and the grift becomes very real, right? The money is flowing to all of these bad people, and you start to see exactly how tied in these networks are, because these are all the same names that you hear when you look at 10 other grifts from the last 5-6 years. They're all these same groups of people, and the grift just starts to, like,
yes,
it's so visible. And
exactly, Muggsy.
People are still just giving all their money because all the data work that people have done has led them to understand exactly who they can target to ask for these donations, who will give. And they all have this giant data set of their target audience that just works to extract millions of dollars for their
Well, it's yeah. And it's not, so the movie People You May Know brings in Glue. And the reason I take Glue so personally is because GLOO. Yeah. People You May Know, Charles Creel, 2020. The chairman of the board and chief investor of Glue was Patrick Gelsinger. Patrick Gelsinger was the CEO of VMware when I worked there. I made that company literally millions of dollars. Millions. And how this individual sitting at the top of this company repaid my dedication and my work and my burnout and my loyalty was by taking the fucking money I made him and turning it into a weapon to fuck up my country.
Yeah.
I hope he sees this.
HiFi chose to work for a big company. They made millions, and now he's pissed that that money was used in some nefarious way that he doesn't like. That's the way the tech industry works, HiFi.
It's another one of those things.
This is personal.
Like you take the jobs knowing, especially like, I mean, you worked at VMware, and
this is personal.
I mean, that's good technology. If you're just a technology guy, there's a lot of fun tech there. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do working for a company like that. But at the same time, the amount of subsidiaries, the amount of companies they acquire, the amount of companies they run, under
this is the same thing Jim does when you try to talk about his companies, or
they just have all of these
money
other
he
companies,
got from Patrick Chung. He's like, oh, I hate billionaires.
You're going to at a company of that size be somehow related to
man.
tangentially even a lot of evil stuff going on.
Quote unquote.
That's just how I see at this point that size of a company in a capitalist society. I don't think you can get away from it in a company of that size. There's going to be bad shit going on, and they'll always write it off as oh well, we had a client that
just
or this one division, and we're working on closing.
No.
You can't have a company of that size doing that much business in that many sectors without there being some bad going on. The level of bad definitely depends on the people in charge.
Starting a company.
I can't. It's the reason I don't take these big jobs in these big companies. One of many ways.
Well, that's kind of how they sucker you in, is with the paycheck, right?
The paycheck, the benefits, the everything else.
Everything.
Yeah, exactly. The profit motive, and then the way the shareholders work. You can look all the way back to Dodge Brothers v. Ford for a part of the downfall of our society. If you ever want to go look at a absolutely horrible court case.
So I start during VMworld. I start tweeting about this movie, People You May Know, using VMworld.
This is what I was referring to, and I think this is what gets him in trouble with his job. Not everything else he's saying. Now I'm just hypothesizing here. I'm just throwing out some ideas. I don't know, but he's going to start using his jobs, his work, their hashtags, and implanting his own things instead of what goes along with the company stuff. And he says it right here.
Hashtags. So all the people who are doing the online virtual reality VMworld are starting to see my posts about this movie. And this movie has Glue with Pat Gelsinger So I don't know if you pay attention recently, but Pat Gelsinger recently left VMware, right?
Yep.
And everybody's like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And I said, "I'll tell you exactly what happened. He got kicked out of VMware because the bullshit he pulled with Glue, and now he's over back at Intel.
Of course.
Right? He's at Intel. Yeah, you know who he's just picked up? They're doing software collaboration with a company called Cyber. Who runs Cyber? A bunch of fucking Unit 8200 guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want former Israeli Intel running shit with the company that makes my CPUs for my servers. Wouldn't be hard to snatch fucking data then at all. No.
Oh, no. Yeah, I mean,
they're inserting fucking vulnerabilities into the supply chain. All these assholes.
I mean, I don't know if anyone was watching. They saw all the new Intel announcements of all the new technology they've got coming out to try and, in their own words, reclaim the top. They don't mention it, but from AMD and ARM. That's, I don't know that they can come back from all that, especially when a lot of us know exactly where some of their new tech and development and some of the money for it is coming from. Not from anyone we would want it to be coming from.
Josh, you didn't get the CEO of VMware kicked out. You're right, maybe I didn't. But here's the other thing I do know, that there used to be a vice president of sales at VMware who, even though she was, everyone involved in this was under NDA.
HiFi wants to think he got him kicked
things
out.
leak. And there was a vice president of sales at VMware who sexually assaulted one of his female employees. She got a 7-figure settlement and a pink slip, and he kept his job for a couple of years. And I started bringing that up as well, and he's no longer there either. So score one for me. I don't know.
No, HiFi.
And you fight for good, and you hope that it does something.
God,
You
he
hope
wants
that
to
the
be the
additive
white
you and
knight
anyone
and
else
seen
complaining
as
and
a
mentioning and
hero.
bringing it up and telling people led to the
Heidi
downfall.
buys his stuff.
Yeah,
hook,
well,
line, and
I mean,
sinker.
look at what's going on with Ubisoft,
fucking
Blizzard,
gross.
Activision.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
equality.
their news statement, I think they just released today saying our last statement was in bad taste, and here's our new statement. It's like, come on. I mean, like, the first statement was who you really are. This is you covering your ass.
Yeah, you want to make a statement? Here's how you make a statement that's going to put this to bed. You fire every asshole in management. You fire every asshole in HR who pulled this shit. You get rid of them. You kick them to the fucking curb. You bring in new people to do shit right. That's where you're at. Sorry, all of you. And what did VMware do? They got rid of pretty much everyone. Now we got Raghu, except I think he's being replaced. Anyway, but then Glue says this is absolute nonsense. You can't. What? This is Pshaw. You're making stuff up. It's a conspiracy, right? Except there's an individual in Portland, and I paid very close attention to Portland. There's an individual in Portland named Alan Sweeney, and if you look at Alan Sweeney, he is textbook what was described. He was a methamphetamine addict who was taken in by a church. He was radicalized. He became a Proud Boy, and his saga ended when he pulled out a revolver on the street and pointed it at counter protesters. If that's not a pathway to radicalization, top to bottom.
Absolutely. And they specifically target them. I mean, their databasing is unbelievably strong. They have all of that. Yeah. So Portia, you're 100% right. That yes, I do believe profit motives definitely lead us to fascism, to oligarchy, to all of the horribles. I'm not the biggest fan of capitalism. I also have this funny belief that capitalism and democracy might be mutually exclusive. Like they don't fit well together. There's a lot of problems.
So to me, capitalism is like storage. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about, Josh? Capitalism is like storage in that if you have a brand new storage array, be able to run semi-decently, right? You got to have some capacity utilization. So you got to have a baseline, right? When it comes to storage. Same thing with capitalism. You got to kind of have a baseline of income. Everyone should get a minimum something. I don't know what that number is.
I'm a big fan of the UBI. The Universal Basic Income is it works in studies. It works in other countries.
I am pro UBI.
Does not raise prices because the government can put locks on that stuff. So there's a million reasons why UBI is a good idea. But like in terms of the profit motivation, I mean, I do like bringing up that Dodge Brothers V4 because it's not the end all be all of why our system is what it is. But like when you look at that case way back, I mean, we're talking nearing 100 years ago now. The Dodge Brothers, they were shareholders of Ford at that point, and horrible things, eugenics, and he was anti-Semitic and all this other stuff. But he was trying to actually give his workers more pay, give them more days off, and more time to spare. Now, it's because he was a gigantic employer, and if he gave them a little more pay, they would actually pay it right back buying cars and all this other stuff. But basically, his play was, let's
really
make
does,
the work.
Spencer, I think so.
Lie him for a minute and the profit motives that he might have had make workers' lives better. The Dodge Brothers took him and the company to court saying that no, that the job of a company is not to make its employees' lives better, it's to make us, the shareholders, money. Anything you do to make their lives better takes money out of our pocket. Fuck you, stop it. And they won, of course. And it wasn't the only thing, and it wasn't the biggest turning point towards it, but it was another piece in the puzzle of Supreme Court decisions that led to the company's job is create money for the shareholders, not make their employees' lives better. And it's just one of those cases you can study up and kind of get a feel for just how horrible all those people are. and how horrible.
Well, so
and
here's
again,
the
we
thing.
built around it is.
So here's the thing. When it comes to storage, when you're utilizing storage, if you utilize over a certain amount of that storage, I like to keep it around 75, 80% capacity utilization when I'm doing storage stuff. If you go over that, if you use up more than your fair share, you're going to crash the whole fucking system. And that's where we're at right now. Is we've got a bunch of fucking billionaires, we've got a bunch of criminals, we've got a bunch of laundered money. Our capacity is past fucking. There needs to be a maximum score. Capitalism needs fucking guardrails. Period. Everything after that goes to the greater good, and you get a plaque that says, "Congratulations, you won capitalism."
Thanks, Budo. And I agree with that entirely. I was about to exactly quote that same damn thing. Yeah, no.
You saw that tweet too?
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely at some point. Yeah, like I've always said, this is a game, and I'm bad at it. I don't do capitalism well. Some people seem to, and I think it takes a certain level of sociopathy and basically
right out of the
psychopath
Arizona
to do
tea jug.
And I guess I don't have those things, at least in that specific level. But yeah,
I had them to some level because I was doing pretty well.
Yeah, no, it's I got no ideas what's going on. My bank account is still fucking negative. I mean,
ouch, dude.
Oh, dude.
So this is where like people like you need people like me and some other people, because we are all incredibly talented people. I know some people out there in the audience listening who've got mad skills, and few years, there's going to be a large demand for cybersecurity experts, both offensive and defensive. And I think all of us need to really sit down and think about what direction we want the world to go in. Because let's look, right now the world's fucking on
I don't
fire,
want HiFi
literally.
on either side.
If you look at wildfire maps
to
for the
quote
globe.
you, I believe you stated very clearly the other day that isn't the mission still to take over the world?
Yeah, I think it's time.
And what do you guys think, chat? Do I build it and take it over? Is that it? I don't know. I mean, my skill's always been organizing other people to do things. So
here's
so
the thing. Here's the thing, man.
Mad skills. He's got mad skills.
If we look at the motherfuckers who are in charge right now, they are leading us down the path to death and destruction.
Absolutely.
I mean, we haven't even gotten into Peter Thiel and his Dark Enlightenment bullshit, or his cosmism that the Russians implanted in him. That's why he wants to take blood from young kids and stick it in his veins, is because if you look up Fyodorov, Fyodorov, and you look up Russian cosmism, this crazy Christian Russian librarian's like, what you do is you take the blood from the old people, you put it in the young people, you take the blood from the young people, you put it in the old people, they get the antibodies, they get the young blood, everybody's happy. What kind of bullshit is that? I don't know, man. That's where he got that idea. He got that from Russia. So we got Sergei Grishkin, and another movie to watch is Active Measures by Jack Bryant. Well worth the watch. That kind of gives you a nice spectrum of the Deripaska and the Abramovich and all those guys. That's the other thing I figured out was yachts.
HiFi.
All these dudes have yachts, and what better place to have an
HiFi figured out yachts. We're okay. He figured out yachts, and that rich people have yachts. Billionaires have yachts. Solved. He figured it out.
Unmonitorable conversation than on a boat in the middle of an ocean. And if you look at Netanyahu and Pompeo and Crown Prince Bonesaw, MBS, Saudi Arabia, they had their meeting about overthrowing the Kingdom of Jordan on Crown Prince Bonesaw's boat out in the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
If you track Robert Mercer's boat, it pops up next to Abramovich. Another guy out of Germany named Christian Dommermuth. Dommermuth is part of this too. That's how I started to realize this was actually multinational. This is a multinational thing, because what I found. So here's a weird one. Gilets jaunes, right? The yellow vests in France. The person who was hosting and then ended up with it again later, but now they've altered registrar records. There's a fellow named Jeff Reberry, Reberry, and he runs a company called Dropcatch, and they've got basically like this registrar empire that they're building. He ended up with a Gilets jaunes domain that was, hosting their website and doing updates and blah, blah, blah. Then, we found Antifa.com was over in Russia. That was fucking great. Why would they put Antifa.com? Again, it's an op. But what they're doing is they're creating problems in a country, but putting the digital resources for their agents, their organizations, their part of the op in a different country. So like WikiLeaks.org, right? The registrar of WikiLeaks.org is actually a company called PSI-USA, which is a United States company, but it's owned by Christian Dommermuth. And Christian Dommermuth, well, he just recently gave the biggest political contribution in history to the CDU in Germany, shortly after which the AfD, which is the literal new Nazi party of Germany, if you know anything about them.
I don't have you sped up, but still.
They won an
election
by one vote. By one vote, they won. What was Trump looking for in Georgia? Remember that? One extra vote.
Oh, Greg wants to move him
That's all
along.
we need to alter the path.
Ready.
So if you, Dr. Emma Bryant created a website called propagandamachine.tech that shows all the
glitch there. Sorry about that. And Emma Bryant is awesome, everybody.
yeah, Emma Bryant, rock out Doc B. She's out there. I talked to her a little bit through all these rabbit holes I've been through. And I knew I was on the right path with all this crap I was going down. Because do you guys remember when the Proud Boys had their email server hacked and they sent all those emails to the Democrats in Florida saying, like, you better vote this way, we're going to fucking come get you because we have all the electoral data? So the office of the DNI said, oh no, it was Iraq. Which I never saw the email header, so I couldn't tell you exactly what server it originated from. But I do know this. I do know that the MX records of the official ProudBoys.com ended up starting and being hosted with a company in Germany that is tied to the AFD and Christian Domermuth. Okay, weird.
All these rabbit holes
also-
go deep.
Hi-Fi.
All of them
Yeah,
go deep. We could go on for another 10 hours about this stuff still.
Yeah. Well, okay, so that was weird because what happened after I pointed out the official Proud Boys MX records thing, I started getting emails. So my first account gets DMCA'd by Sergey Grishin, right? And Twitter's like, oh, we're going to suspend you. And they still haven't fucking answered my emails about that suspension.
Yep.
But then, so I point out the whole Proud Boys in Germany thing. And then the nuns behind Trump in the purple masks, purple MAGA, remember them?
Yep.
Yeah, I tracked them. I kind of tore them apart. Their website and email were hosted. Oh no, I'm sorry. The nuns were actually selling rosaries for a company that was attached to the same company that was hosting the Proud Boys stuff. Yeah, so they were selling rosaries to Catholics in the United States for a company in Germany connected to the AFD.
It's all both a grift, it's all a scam, and it's all also an op.
There were no.
All in one.
And it's all, yeah, it's all.
That-
I mean,
I'm not going to go down
props
the
to
nun
whoever put
story.
this shit together.
Never
Good
mind,
job.
never mind, never
Oh,
mind.
yeah. I hate everything you stand for, but I can see.
Turn to take your shit apart because that's what we're going to do. Not just here in the United States. It's time for the global family to get their fucking game on, kids. You know. So I mentioned Stewartson.
Yeah.
Huh?
I do not disagree with that. If people want to go on that mission, that is a very valuable mission to go on.
As far as I'm concerned, it's probably the most valuable mission to go on because if I'm right in all the shit I've been down and all the shit I've been through,
Oh, poor
I think
Hi-Fi.
ultimately their goal, if they get back to the House in
This
2022,
digital
if they
battlefield.
get a Republican back in power in 2024, I think their goal is Peter Thiel's Dark Enlightenment, Steve Bannon's fourth cycle. I think they want World War III, and I think they want to kill billions of people. And the reason they want to kill billions of people, two reasons. They want to set up their little fiefdoms. They want to take us back to the fucking dark ages, right? Peter Thiel's going to be down in fucking New Zealand with his little fiefdom and all his, I don't know, sex slaves, drugs, whatever the fuck this dude wants. And I think that there are, I mean, that's why Larry Ellison is setting up in Hawaii. And yes, Larry Ellison of Oracle is absolutely involved in this. And you say, what the fuck do you mean Larry Ellison of Oracle is involved? Larry Ellison of Oracle just recently paid $500,000 over asking on a multi-million-dollar beach house in Florida that was owned by an individual named Gabe Hoffman. Gabe Hoffman just happens to currently be suing Thomas Schoenberger. Thomas Schoenberger is one of the game runners of QAnon.
No. Mm-mm.
And then if you also look at Oracle again, if you look at Safra Katz, the president of Oracle, remember Icon with Dovey Francis and George Berman? Yeah, Safra Katz is big with them. You know, it's on their website, blah, blah, blah. Safra Katz hired Ezra Cohen Watnick when H.R. McMaster fired Ezra Cohen Watnick from the National Security Council. Flynn brought Ezra into the NSC. Ezra was his infiltrator. He was his plant. McMaster pretty much knew this. And he's
Can you imagine if you're a fan of Greg's and you watch his show all the time, and I don't know what. Muggsy, I have to look where I clipped that from, because he says something. He says something and she's like, oh, hi-fi. Because it's really like she's really enthralled with him. And I was like, whoa, Heidi. I will I'll figure out where I pulled that from. I have it on my laptop. I need to see it in the bigger context, and then I'll be able to tell what episode in the exact context of it. But it always cracks me up. But I'll look that up. I'll have it for next week's. I know it does crack me up. Oh, high fidelity. It is pretty funny. It makes me laugh. But yeah, like, you're a fan of Greg's. You come, you go to a show. This is like episode 77. It says on here. I don't know if he's ever done anything else. And Hi-Fi's on here. And I can't imagine pulling up to this and being like, the fuck is this guy talking about? I'd be like, whoa.
like, get the fuck out.
Because it's not even
And
interesting. Like,
Sopper's
if
like,
I
poor
wasn't
Ezra,
presenting
come
to
here, I'll
show
give you a
people
job
what
for 7
Hi-Fi's
months at
like
Oracle, making who knows what money, doing who the fuck knows what.
and to
And
discuss
then he
it,
ends up where?
I would
At
have
the
been like,
Pentagon.
I'm
Who does he end up
out,
at the
Greg.
Pentagon with?
I'll
He
see
ends
you
up at the
next
Pentagon
week,
with
next show.
Ezra Cohen Watnick, Kosh Patel, Chris Miller. We all know that Chris Miller delayed the fucking National Guard on January 6th. You know that the CNP and ALEC and the Koch motherfuckers are behind glue, along with Patrick Gelsinger. Patrick Gelsinger also sat on Trump's telecommunications committee in the White House, and I was absolutely
Joe Fionda for me, right? You two have one skill that I just don't have, and that's to keep 600 names in your head at one time and know which one connects to which one. I have to write all this down and continue to recheck my notes when it's the amounts that you have. And I'm betting chat and people watching this are having the same trouble as you. Just as the story you're reading here has another 100 people added to it.
So do you want to know how I developed the skill?
Like, I just don't have it. I have to work a lot at databasing all of this to keep it all together.
I designed networks for multinational companies with data centers around the globe.
Oh, of course. I know where
that's how it works.
Come from. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of it's a lot to organize. What we need is the organizers, the hackers, but we also need the journalist types who can take this amount of data and condense it into the headline, the initial here's what you need to know, and then the explanation in a way where we can start to reach the general public with this stuff.
Well, basically, Senator Whitehouse, who's I think he's part of the select committee, but Senator Whitehouse said it best. You know, the Washington Times recently wrote Washington Post, I forget. Anyway, there's an information war going on in the world right now, and Senator Whitehouse posted this article, and what he said was basically a bunch of billionaires are carrying out war,
different papers,
upon us, and ultimately that's what it is. It is a class war. It is the rich versus labor. And I'm sorry, if you're watching this and you're not a billionaire, they're coming after you. They will gladly cause a war to kill your family, kill your children, kill the people you love to get what they want. They're doing it in America right now. Flynn with his fucking AR-15 comment. I think I'll go to Washington, D.C. Or, I'll see if I can find someone.
Flynn's the least of my worries right now, HiFi.
If you look at the stuff that QAnon was doing, it's identical to the video radicalization that ISIS used. This is all psychological operations. It is designed specifically. QAnon was a game. It was designed to put people into apophenia, which if you listen to Jim Stewartson on Financial Times, is QAnon a game gone wrong. If you listen to the Dismantling QAnon TED Talk.
Dr. Hassan's in that too.
Well, here's
with Jim.
There's just a lot to we could go on forever on this, but in the end, the one thing that you see, I went down a similar rabbit hole a while ago. There's a media company that builds websites and does.
I'm going to slow Greg down here for a second. Greg discovers something interesting, and the way he presents how he figured out something compared to HiFi's is remarkable. You can understand it, and it's interesting. Let me see if I have this on 1.5. Okay, I do. Greg just talks fast. Let me make sure that's good enough. Greg talks normal, I should say.
Does web design, psych media. And what I learned about psych media was really interesting. I ended up finding them because someone sent me a link to a right-wing donation page, right? And it was a page to donate out of fear due to a thing happening to some PAC that wasn't even properly identified on the website. The page itself was hilarious. It had a video of some ISIS activity, obviously in Syria, but it said ISIS were staging and this was during Obama's presidency, ISIS are staging just the other side of the Mexican border, and Obama knows it and is supporting them. And donate now to help the Republicans fight off Obama's evil ISIS scourge. And it was like a 1-minute video. And looking at the structure of the page, it was video, short description, and donation information here. There were no other pages or anything. There was no way to get anywhere else on the website. And it was a single domain, right? But I used the structure of the HTML and whatnot to go hunting through all the various tools we have to find others. And at the time, this was, years and years ago, because again, Obama was still president. And I found like 40 of them. And through that, I was able to find a CDN that was serving the videos and the images. And through that, was able to find that this psych media company, which I have the link somewhere still, was behind all of these donation pages. They were all outright lies. I mean, outright lies, right? ISIS was not on the other side of the border of Texas over there staging to come in, right? I mean,
I know, Muggsy.
But looking through it all, I ended up finding that the company itself that was putting all these up was owned by a company that was owned by a shell that was part of Karl Rove's Rove Media.
That's a great way to describe
and
it.
All of those donation pages were all actually feeding into whatever PACs Rove wanted the money to go to. And what I found hilarious was, and I shared this information with some other researchers who did some work on the data. This was at the time when people were just starting to really heavily use MongoDB because it was the new hotness. And they were also a bunch of non-technical idiots, so they didn't follow the security instructions that tell you quite clearly, hey, so Mongo by default has no security and isn't passworded and anyone can get in. So of course, all their instances were wide open. So you can hop right in. And again, it's not even a CFAA violation because it's a public address that you can see in the JavaScript that is downloaded to your machine. There is no username and password, so you're not bypassing any form of authentication. You're just connecting to a server that's public on the internet. And so you could connect up and you could see every single donator, how much they had donated and what message they had left for them to fight this evil, whatever the evil was, of the different pages. And looking at the data, just that ISIS one alone was generating around $400 to $600 a day. Now that doesn't sound like much, but that's per day. And then I identified just somewhere near 40 of these sites. I think my total list was like 38, but I gave up looking after I had found like enough of them. I was just like, I don't need to keep looking for these things. And you could tell they were being fed from lists of already identified possible donors because I found some people's email addresses on multiple sites. And you could just see this mechanism that they were starting to build of the lists of people who were vulnerable to this type of media and then how they could legally extract money from them into their PACs to do their work. And who was behind it. And at that point, the only one I could find at the top of that group was Karl Rove.
Greg's story, simple. He found something, he got in, he found the email list, he found the donors, stopped at 38, links back to Karl Rove. That's all he could link back then. Boom, done. I understood everything, and I'm not even that big into tech or anything. HiFi stories are terrible to follow.
So I'm going to put a proposition to you.
Yeah.
What if I had
There
a
we
person's
go.
name, person's physical address, whatever Democrat, and then I had the ability to obtain prepaid Visa cards in bulk, which I could then use to make straw donations through online systems in those persons' names. I could funnel millions of dollars into political campaigns. And the reason I bring this up, because if you look through the FEC donations, specifically WinRed, but there was one that I showed Kurt that was out of Las Vegas. By the way, you'll notice that Sands has sold everything they used to own in Vegas. You're welcome. Fuck those guys.
You think you made them sell everything, HiFi? He thinks he is so
I could funnel this money
effective
to political
something
campaigns.
happens.
So if you look for
he
retirees
or sent emails
who are giving amounts in less than $10,000, you look at WinRed, like going to FEC and scan for WinRed stuff and look for all amounts less than $10,000. Look how many of those people are retirees.
Yeah.
Now I don't know. Maybe I grew up poor, but all the retirees I know are not giving $9,000 to the GOP.
Not the ones I know either, but I know there are.
You'd be surprised how much retirees gave to Trump. It's disgusting.
Okay, so the one in Las Vegas had about 99 people giving $1,500. Every single one of them was a retiree.
We all know that
didn't matter.
In trouble for it,
Makes
but only
sense
because
to
they
you
went
doesn't mean
against
it's a
the people already in power, and
or you can't explain why
they tried to play
something.
an end around there and got told no.
Why would they give this much money?
So you've got WinRed, which is the only for-profit financial contribution system. But then what's funny is if you look at ActBlue, the guy who started ActBlue, big CEO type, right? I mean, you start a company like that, you got to have some juice.
Sure.
Do you know where he is right now? He's a system engineer at Stripe.
Makes sense.
Why does Stripe matter? Who funded Stripe?
I don't know, HiFi, tell us.
Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and Sequoia Capital.
Yeah.
Yeah, those three companies.
Okay, so what's that have to
They
do with
funded Stripe.
prepaid?
And now you've got
There's
these
a lot of
billionaire
financial
kids.
And now we're back to
Yeah,
donations.
you got these billionaire kids over in
He just
Ireland.
makes leaps and
You know who else
bounds,
is
just
over
like
in Ireland?
QAnon.
A guy named Huracan.
Or any
And
conspiracy
Huracan
theorist.
used to work at Deutsche Bank. Or I'm sorry, no, Huracan used to work at Cyprus Bank with Wilbur Ross and the former CEO of Deutsche Bank. But now Huracan works at a company called New Day. And one of the things New Day does is prepaid Visa cards. So I don't know.
There's a lot there. I mean, that's
He
a whole
just said
other
it.
topic. We can
I
go
don't
down.
know. I'm just
But
putting it out
it
to
is.
the
It all is
ecosphere.
just in
You
the
know,
end
it's
one
out in
giant
the
brick.
ecosphere.
All
I
that
don't
money
know. I'm
ends up
just
in
saying.
their own pockets.
That's
Well,
a
I
conspiracy
think
theory.
actually what they're doing is they're laundering trafficking, drug trafficking. I think they're laundering. Oh, and then we talk about sex trafficking, right? What do we know about Trump? Trump used to have a modeling company, right?
Yeah.
And the whole Miss Universe thing. Yeah, there's a bunch of other people who had those too. One of the people who had those was a fellow named John Casablancas, who left his wife at 40 for a 17-year-old. There was a guy named Jean-Luc Brunel, who is currently in court for raping a model over in France. And Virginia Epstein's victim, Virginia Guthrie.
Yeah.
I think that's how you pronounce it. Jean-Luc Brunel. And then, of course, you have Nygaard up in Canada. Nygaard was a fashion mogul who was accused of sexually assaulting dozens of these young women. I think he's actually being charged with raping like 5 of them. But then you have a picture of Nygaard hanging out with Bill Gates, and we know Bill Gates was getting marital advice from Jeffrey Epstein. And then if you trace Jeffrey Epstein to Silicon Valley and what he was up to, and all those dinners with Sergey Grishin, Harvey Weinstein, Wendy Deng, Yuri Milner, who's basically Putin's bagman. If you look at one of the earliest investors in Facebook, it was Peter Thiel. He put 500 grand in, and he got like 10% of the company, right? And you go a little bit farther down the road, the next person who pops up on my chart who also invested in Facebook was Sergey Grishin. He got 10% of the company, but he put $2 billion in, right? And then we know Yuri Milner gave them millions of dollars. So basically, yeah, Facebook is an op. It's a big Russian gun to deliver psyop, disinfo, malware to people's fucking brains. And people like you and me who grew up on the chance, we know what this bullshit is. We can see it. Now that I realize like what's it's being fucking weaponized like this, but the average Joe does not fucking get it, and that's how we ended up with QAnon. Because you can tie QAnon to the anti-vax movement, you can tie QAnon to pastel QAnon is what they call it, yoga moms, right?
You can tie QAnon to the fact that people are dumb enough to follow all this shit. So I mean,
so that was intentional because what Roger Stone did, and this has been traced back to the early '80s, he was infiltrating JFK groups, JFK conspiracy groups. He had Alex Jones infiltrate the 9/11 Truthers movement. Basically any conspiracy, because ultimately conspiracy theory is woo-woo, right?
But they found ways to weaponize those people and make it not only profitable both politically but monetarily.
Stone had Alex Jones
they are doing quite the job
infiltrate 9/11.
Well, they tried to overthrow the government.
Yeah, but most of them aren't going to get in any level of trouble. I mean,
you don't think the rich ones? You don't think Roger Stone's gonna? I mean, if
I don't think Roger Stone is rich. I think Elon Musk is rich. I think Zuckerberg is rich. I think Roger Stone doesn't. He's not even close to that level. He's richer than me, but he isn't that level. The scale doesn't work on most people, but it's a difference.
He really is.
Well, all
I'm
I know
just
is
like,
this, if I was a House Select Committee, I would be issuing subpoenas for every person on my chart.
Right, they don't.
I mean, we know Ellen Wood is QAnon.
I didn't rewatch the rest of this.
We know Ellen Wood lost against Joseph Lonsdale. We know Ellen Wood lost against Elon Musk.
Watched the beginning part.
We know Elon Musk is utilizing Bitcoin to manipulate the prices of Tesla. I mean, he's blatantly doing it, right? Tesla, what was it, Q1, they had $111 million in profit because of Bitcoin, but they didn't really call that out. So everybody's like, wow, Tesla's making all this goddamn money. Wow, this is fucking amazing. Really, they're not. They're holding on to an unregulated security that is currently worthless.
Now they're in Doge. But they're playing the same game just a second time around.
Yeah, it's a pump and dump, right?
Yeah. And then Elon tweets out, I might pump, but I don't dump. Like, what?
Actually, that's not true. That's not true. He does dump. You know who he dumped on? He dumped on hedge funds because what he did was he tweeted about not taking Bitcoin at Tesla or some bullshit funds had their SEC liquidity test, which that tweet caused BTC to drop. He just made all these hedge funds lose 17% of their fucking liquidity.
I mean, I think it's funny personally, fuck them all, but I don't like that he has that kind of power. But I do like that, fuck them all.
Yes. Lift up our glasses and watch your palaces burn to ashes. Every palace.
Exactly.
Every palace. Not just the big ones.
Me too,
hours in, and I want to transition to a couple other lighter things to joke about for a little bit before we end.
Okay.
So we've talked about all the heavy shit. Now let's just joke about some funny shit. Are you guys in chat ready for some other stuff? Move on to some different things. This one is, you guys saw a little earlier, but this is one of the things that I think is, I mean, it's, how to put this, it's bad that it happened to Jim, but it's also kind of hilarious. So
what happened?
So Jim Browning is the one of the tech support reverse scammers on YouTube who scans the scammers, right? And finds all the tech support scammers and screws them over and like deletes their their hard drives and fakes, like
I do
he buys the
remember
cards
from
they want to buy.
watching this before. We are going to come up to a commune idea. Yes, I said commune.
But then spends them while they're watching as they get louder and scream at him. No, just give me the code, stop spending it, and all that stuff. He's hilarious. Well, one of the scammers convinced Jim to delete his YouTube with its 3.28 million subscribers. They convinced Jim that they were YouTube support and that some shit needed to happen on his account because scammers had done some shit to it. And so he was working with them to get it all cleaned up. And the scammers convinced him to delete his YouTube and all the videos about them. And yes, they're scammers. Yes, I hate them all. And I think what he's doing is great for humanity. But also, this is just fucking hilarious.
Sometimes you just got to say, well played.
Exactly. Just like Jim in the chat. That's some top tier fucking social engineering. That's funny. That's some funny shit.
Here's one for you. So Google, remember Google had Google Plus?
Oh God, his goddamn Google Plus story again.
I'm pretty sure me and my fucking crew from that time killed it.
This must have been a great time.
And like the best reactions ended up on the WrestleMania awards.
I hated the platform itself.
He is now. Oh gosh, no, he's talking about his time on
Google Plus, and when he was a super troll in there, and they created these awards called WrestleMania.
Not out of any inherent need to hate Google as all of their evil, but just the platform was never usable for me. Like I could not look at it and feel like it wasn't intuitive in any way. It was a horrible platform.
Oh no, it was awful. I mean, the design was awful. Everything about it was awful. But I mean, we used to have such fun.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We doxed white supremacists. I gotta find the picture. You'll absolutely love it. We got a picture of a white supremacist wearing his ex-wife's light blue lace teddy with a stuffy between his legs and like literally doing like one of those like I'm such a cute little baby. Like this was a guy who's talking about killing N-word, killing K-word, and we got him to take a picture like this. We catfished him. And then we just dropped that everywhere. We rated white supremacy groups.
Because you're a child.
My favorite one was I used to have a little
How
picture
did
of
that
a Pillsbury
help
Doughboy dressed
the
up like Hitler
neo-Nazi
and giving us
movement
pilots
and
with like
rise
flour,
of
and we would just drop that.
the alt-right in the U.S.?
Like when we rated, it was
How's
glorious.
that helping us,
The
HiFi?
groups and the neo-Nazi groups are so easy to
Your
get
trolling
mad.
helped what?
You can get them mad enough that they will dox themselves. One of the things we did on Google Plus was going into groups and getting them so mad that they would threaten us, that they would ask for fights, and then throwing out, well, like I'm in this fucking city. If any of you are here, come get me. And then they would say, I'm fucking there. Where? And you'd be like, okay, great. His city is this. And you can start to getting them angry enough to throw out their own docs is so simple. They are so fucking stupid. We used to have a lot of fun with that shit on there.
Oh, dude, my boy Merk Jones and I. So he's living on the East Coast. I'm living in Ohio, and we had this dude in the UK driving around his city trying to find us, and we would just send him screenshots from Google Maps and be like, "I'm at this hospital in the parking lot. Come find me, bitch."
Right.
And you'd be there. I'm like, "I'm here. Where the hell are you guys?" And we're like, "You're not there. Bullshit. Send us a picture.
I
We're
was
right fucking
once
here."
a success on MySpace. You should have seen my front page. You should have seen it.
Hysterical.
Did you all see that Israel has opened an official investigation into NSO Group? And I would like to ask, do you think anything's going to come from it?
You want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because the guy who's the head of the Mossad right now is a fucking clout-chasing little bitch. And I hope somebody tells him I said that. I hope this is me right here, motherfucker, saying it.
Scary.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically what's going on is we have these compromised elements inside of all of the intelligence communities of the United States, Saudi Arabia, Israel, UAE. We know that what was going on, we were spying on Germany with like Sweden or the Netherlands or something.
Yeah.
The NSA convinced some European countries to spy on Germany. These are compromised elements inside of our government. I mean, if you look, does everyone know who Dave Troy is? Davetroy. If you read Dave's pinned tweet, the big history, I mean, we can trace the military/intelligence side back to the 1970s with that crazy fucking senator who Russia killed for Singlov. Was it Donahoe? Donahoe had Western goals, it was a security apparatus. It was a surveillance apparatus.
Yeah.
It was data aggregation about criminals and all this shit. And Singlov took it over, right? And Singlov, guess what? This old motherfucker is still alive and he's pushing QAnon, right? But Singlov was the one who he made the deal with the Iranians to hold the hostages. So Carter lost the election and Reagan won.
Yep.
That was a psyop. And what happened a couple years later? They started bringing cocaine into the West Coast, right? Selling the cocaine, starting a fucking crack epidemic. Why? So they could get money to buy guns, to pay Iran back for holding the hostages, and to get the Contra communist bullshit. Who was that? Oliver North. Where is Oliver North today?
Whoa,
he just happens to be the head of the fucking NRA while Russia's pummeling money.
I want you, when you have some free time, all right? When you have some free time, Joshua, go through the podcast Wind of Change about the Scorpion song Winds of Change, and about how the CIA actually wrote it. But
I know the story.
But do you know the part where their manager is actually one of the largest cocaine drug smugglers working with the CIA for years? And that's how they got to the Scorpions? Because their manager was actually moving hundreds of tons into America from his best friend Escobar and his other best friend down in Panama, Noriega. It's all in the podcast, like all the stuff, even interviews with the people involved. It's crazy how it all ties into everything you just said, and it's all about that goddamn song in a concert in Moscow.
I remember hearing of them to talk about When to Change, and I vaguely remember hearing a story about this maybe many moons ago, but I have to listen to this podcast because I've never heard this story before. Like I have vague memories of hearing something about CIA and like this thing that happened over in Range. Now I have When to Change stuck in my head. I'm not going to start singing it, but When to Change is in my head right now.
Go through the podcast. It's quite crazy.
Yeah. And that concert in Moscow, that's why Russia shut down. Yeah, that's why
it is pretty marvelous.
I think Russia killed everybody on that plane with the Western Goals guy just to get that Western Goals guy, because that's how they are. I mean, look at Putin. Putin fucking killed 200 some of his own people in apartment bombings to come up to
I mean, let me throw this out there. Just, everyone go watch that podcast or listen to that podcast. But the thing that when you get to it, the episode that lays out all the cocaine related stuff and all the marijuana related stuff, you will find very quickly that guy gets busted for a 50,000 ton shipment into America that they bring in off the coast of freaking North Carolina into 6 bid rigs. And after getting busted and about to go on trial for this, suddenly gets probation, and 9 months later is running the first big rock concert with a ton of U.S. bands and the German band, of course, Scorpions, in Moscow 9 months later. And you start to think there's no real way this works, that the guy that was taking Panamanian and Venezuelan and Colombian drugs, all coming from CIA assets down there, now is in Moscow. And then you hear, well, yeah, but that song was written by the Scorpions after that concert. And then you hear the rumor, well, they were actually given it by the CIA. You start to put it all together. You're like, well, okay, no, now it all makes fucking sense.
Well, so here's the thing.
The craziest thing. Are you ready for it? Wait for this.
Go ahead.
The concert itself, the Moscow Peace Festival in '89, was an anti-drug concert made for a foundation, make a difference, make a change. Sorry, and it was to keep kids off of drugs and alcohol. So you throw an international concert in Moscow for anti-drug awareness, and you send Ozzy Osbourne, Skid Row, and Motley Crue, and Cinderella. Like what?
Rock the fuck on. Well, okay, so
I'm
here's
just saying, like that plane that they flew over on is full of drugs for the anti-drug concert.
Right. I agree that kids should be kept off of drugs and alcohol because the brains are still forming.
I agree with everyone personally, but I'm a teetotaler.
I like
Everyone can do whatever the fuck they want, and I don't care. I'm a teetotaler.
There you go. Fair enough. What works for you does not work for me, and that's and we're cool with that.
I just want none of it.
But we live in a society that is using prohibition, right? It is prohibiting drugs, it is prohibiting sex work, but at the same time, our intelligence communities, our rich people, are all engaging in these things because there's two sets of rules in America. There's rules for the elites, and there's rules for the fucking working class.
No, it is wild.
And this is booking. When I'm smoke pot, I'm getting high since I was 18, for fuck's sake, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a productive member of society. Hell, I figured out a whole fucking conspiracy in Silicon Valley with fucking money laundering and crazy shit going on.
Did you?
That needs to be fucking dealt with. Drugs need to be legalized. Sex work needs to be legalized. It needs to be regulated. It needs to be kept safe. It needs to be monitored.
Did it. All use levels have
pro
dropped
that.
across the board in Portugal after they just legalized it all.
Yeah, because it's not fucking cool anymore. It's not rebellious anymore.
Well, so I don't know. So you want to hear something funny today? Today, I saw a video clip and I agreed on both points that Geraldo Rivera made.
Oh my god, dude!
This happened today. You know why? Because I think he's trying to distance himself from all the bullshit. And it's funny because he went on Sean Hannity's show and ripped into Sean Hannity saying that he was gaslighting America about January 6th, that it was an insurrection, and that if you back the blue, then why don't you back, these ones who are obviously telling the truth? And he just ripped into Sean Hannity, but specifically about the part about him gaslighting, I thought was like, holy shit. Yes, Geraldo, tell the audience that that's what's going on.
Let me say a little something. Let me say a little
was
about
hilarious
Geraldo.
because I don't believe for a minute that Geraldo was saying that, and then he promoted that bullshit. And he did it live on Fox News. He called Sean Hannity out for gaslighting for all of his points.
They're all going to lose their asses, and they're all going to lose their asses very, very soon. That's why I'm looking forward to subpoenas. But Geraldo Rivera sexually assaulted Bette Midler. Yeah,
and also yes, Budo, 100% correct. You could see it on his face, like he had that moment, and it was like 5 minutes of yelling at Hannity, and then it's over, and he's back to being, the hypocritical piece of shit he is.
The propagandist. Yeah, because that's what he is.
Yeah. He found where the money was for him, and he went that way. It wasn't in opening old people's safes. It was in propaganda.
Yeah. Well, it helps that he also works with a bunch of people who, demean and sexually assault women, who feel that women should be stereotyped into this tall blonde. Yeah. I don't understand how people on the right, who are not bad people, don't see the pedophiles, the misogynists, the white supremacy.
How do you not see your misogyny?
In some ways, I am conservative. When I spend money, I want value for my money. I want a good return on investment. I want a low total cost of ownership. Just my business mind, right?
You have some fiscal conservatives in your sure, okay.
And
that's because HiFi is not really on the left.
That's what the Republican Party was, or at least what they said they were.
No, it's
HiFi has no allegiance but to himself.
Actually, be a thing.
Yeah, well, it's turned into an authoritarian religious cult that's intent on overthrowing. And the reason all these billionaires, because if you look at like Wo Wing Wei and the Mercers and Abramovich and all these fuckers, again, it just goes back to class war with these fucking people. Sorry.
Damn straight, St. Dave. And yeah, again, I mean, I just want to find myself working with a co-op of friends living on a commune, and at some point in the future here, that is the goal, and I am working with some people on the idea of getting there, including someone who already actually outright owns 2 communal living spaces and might want to help us get our own up, so I can get away from all this stupid shit. There are some thoughts in place. There are some plans being tentatively made, and boy, that would make life a lot easier and a lot simpler. And we have thoughts. Who knows if we ever get there? I don't have money to provide for this operation, but I can definitely bring everyone together. So we'll see.
Okay, so
I can mutual aid is exactly it.
HiFi lights up about this commune as soon as he hears it. And Spence posted, I just found a 3-episode podcast limited series from Kirkland Media, most famous for Pod Save America, supposedly investigating the Scorpion CIA connection. I say it's retcon BS, and it probably is. So I'll give it a fair shake and listen and then go, meh. And then I'm going to Google and fall down a rabbit hole of fact checking it, which I always do, unfortunately. I can't just let something go. What was that we discussed, Spencer, about the truth taking longer?
I think we've got about 3 to 5 years of work ahead of us. I'd love if you guys were interested in being part of that work. I think it can be done in such a way that it's safer than the way it was done in the past, if you know what I mean.
Of course.
with contracts and legal indemnification. We're older now. We're not those fucking, you know, we're not hackers. We're security researchers now. And I think it's time for people to address us as such and take our business seriously, because there's a lot of bad things going to be happening real soon. Actually, they kind of are happening already. I mean, look at the ransomware epidemic we're facing. Look at the fucking supply chain issues we're facing. You know?
I mean, I'm up for having the conversations about a nice worker-owned cooperative security group. That might be interesting.
Or even a
Chad hears it
co-op.
here first, but I'm definitely up for that style of an idea. There are very few security companies that I've talked to that I have ever been interested in any way. The few that have come at me have been bad actors, so I wasn't willing to work for them. The few intelligence firms that were private ones that have come at me, again, I did not like the contracts they were taking or the people they were working for, and I wasn't going to do that. But if we had, you know, one that had a foundation of morals and ethics that I could get behind and was cooperative and all the other fun stuff, yeah, I'm kind of interested. I do know people who actually work with the Co-op Union of America and the Workers Ownership Rights Group as well, who are here local, who run a couple cooperative businesses, who have told me the second I want to go down that route and be in a company like that, they've already got literally the paperwork done and all of the contacts waiting for whenever I choose to go that way. And they would be very happy if a company like this existed. So, like, I will bring them to the table with all the existing knowledge of setting it up and all of the paperwork if it's something you guys want to talk about.
So if you want to ask me about my morals and ethics and values,
This is pretty gross, and this is where HiFi is going to say he has strong morals and values because of. It's very gross. Yeah, it is, Moxie. You're like, I'm tired. Let's wrap it up with some good subjects. Let's go. Okay, I'm going to put this at normal speed because I want this, because this part. All right, here we go.
Going down these rabbit holes and chasing these fucking people because I wanted to figure out what the fuck was going on in my country.
There we go.
As well, who are here local, who run a couple cooperative
HiFi's going to tell us.
who have told
if you
me
want to know what
the
his
second
morals
I
are.
want to go down that route and be in a company like that, they've already got all of literally the paperwork done and all of the contacts waiting for whenever I choose to go that way. And they would be very happy if a company like this existed. So, like, I will bring them to the table with all the existing knowledge of setting it up and all of the paperwork if it's something you guys want to talk about.
So if you want to ask me about my morals and ethics and values, you know, going down these rabbit holes and chasing these fucking people because I wanted to figure out what the fuck was going on in my country. I mean, I'd spent 9 years on the road working for technology companies, and she was raising kids, and it wasn't in a great shape. But
remote
me
Salesforce
going,
stuff, man, it can be painful on relationships.
Yeah, but going down these rabbit holes was literally the final straw. It broke my marriage. Sergey Grisham has got a lot to fucking answer for with me. I gave up my marriage. I gave up my kids, basically, to make sure that these fuckers get punished for what they're doing. So if you question my morals or ethics, you know, you know, it's funny because all the things I did a lot of trolling.
So, everybody, you have HiFi to thank. Like, how weird is that he's like, I lost my family. Well, he doesn't say I gave up my family. I gave up. Like, that's the context that he put that all in. And that means I have good morals because I went down a rabbit hole. I gave that all up because I had to fight for my country. I did that. That's my moral. Like, I don't know about all that. Yeah, it doesn't sound on the up and up expense. All right, I'm going to go back. We'll speed HiFi up a little bit.
On that route and be in a company like that, they've already got all of literally the paperwork done and all of the contacts waiting for whenever I choose to go that way. And they would be very happy if a company like this existed. So, like, I will bring them to the table with all the existing knowledge of setting it up and all of the paperwork if it's something you guys want to talk about.
It is really sad.
So if you want to ask me about my morals and ethics and values, you know, going down these rabbit holes and chasing these fucking people because I wanted to figure out what the fuck was going on in my country. I mean, she was raising kids, and it wasn't in a great shape. But
remote
me
Salesforce
going,
stuff, man, it can be painful on relationships.
Yeah, but going down these rabbit holes was literally the final straw. It broke my marriage. Sergey Grisham has got a lot to fucking answer for with me. I gave up my marriage. I gave up my kids basically to make sure that these fuckers get punished for what they're doing. So if you question my morals or ethics, it's funny because all the things I did a lot of trolling. I did a lot of trolling of the QAnon people and the right wing.
That's a justification for everything he's done. It's a way to make losing his family seem worth it. He tells himself that he's sticking to a moral principle and saving the world. And yes, many people in QAnon say the very same things. Excellent points. Yeah, we've often discussed how he has said this because we've picked it up in different other things. He said it in tweets and stuff. This interviews, obviously. But it is an odd justification. It really is. And it takes away your responsibility in what happened in your familial relationships.
And I said some terrible, dude. I was back in 4chan being a bro who hung out on Rotten over shit, if you know what I mean.
You were back
some of
to
these
that
things.
with the QAnon.
Exactly.
Well,
and instead of thinking about what happened in the marriage like an adult, he instead pins it on himself as a badge of courage. Yes. Excellent. Yep. Exactly.
When I say what I say, though, is like but still able to take in money to partially support ourselves could be codified into a founding document that made us all happy. That's what I'm saying. Something that laid out basic underlying morals and ethics behind the clientele we're willing to take. Also a document that we can literally point at and say, this is why we can't take your money.
Yes.
That document.
Here's the problem with me being involved in some of this stuff, because from what I've heard in the discords and the elements. Oh, by the way, shout out to Element for getting 30 million in funding. Good job. If you know who Element messaging. Okay. But what I've heard in all our chat rooms and our wire rooms and our Sigma rooms and blah blah blah, both sides hate me now.
You've definitely found yourself in an interesting position.
So here's the thing. If you guys fucking hate me for what I did to help Jim and Kurt stop Q.
Okay, hold up.
Imagine.
Nobody stopped Q. Nothing. QAnon's still here. Yeah, Q quit posting on the chans because the LARP just was boring. They didn't feel like writing anymore. Trump got into office. Like, what else was there to post about anymore? He was there. The LARP got old. And then Jim Watkins came back and tried to, get Q going again, got caught. It was stupid. You didn't stop shit. And there are millions of people out there still addicted to QAnon. Get bent. Fucking pissed me off. Kurt Tanner. Oh my God. I forgot he said that.
Okay. But what I've heard in all our chat rooms and our wire rooms, both sides hate me now.
You've definitely found yourself in an interesting position.
So here's the thing. If you guys fucking hate me for what I did to help Jim and Kurt stop Q, imagine how much I hate all of you, because one side of you fucking tried to do this in my country, not just in my country, but around the fucking globe.
My country.
One side fucking
HiFi's
tried to pull that shit, and the other side fucking let it happen.
Because
I had
nobody
to
else
step up,
loves America
and I had to
like
lose
HiFi.
my fucking wife,
Nobody
my
else
ex-wife,
loves the
and I had to
United
lose my
States
fucking
of America
kids.
like HiFi.
Where were you assholes when I had to fucking step up?
It's a tough fight.
He's a martyr.
Go ahead.
It's a tough.
He is a martyr for the United States. Like, he did it all for us. What? The martyrdom and falling on the sword. I'm sorry.
You've definitely found
Play that
yourself
one
in
more
an
time.
interesting position.
I gotta take it in.
So here's the thing. If you guys fucking hate me for what I did to help Jim and Kurt stop Q, imagine how much I hate all of you, because one side of you fucking tried to do this in my country, not just in my country, but around the fucking globe. One side fucking tried to pull that shit, and the other side fucking let it happen. And I had to step up, and I had to lose my fucking wife, my ex-wife, and I had to lose my fucking kids. Where were you assholes when I had to fucking step up?
Oh my
Tough
God.
fight.
Go ahead.
It's a tough
I'm
fucking
sorry,
fight.
Muggsy. I'm real sorry.
Yeah, see,
Apologies.
that's the thing, St. J, right? It's the sides
HiFi
argument,
needs-
which you said
yeah,
earlier. You even kind
really-
of disagree with the whole idea of sides. I think that you've got what I would call like far lefties, like the people I actually agree with almost entirely, and then you've got the right wingers who are far right, and then you've got everyone who supports the far right, basically, because you're either far left, where I find myself in my mind, or if you're even slightly starting to head towards the center, you are what keeps the right in power. Period. So fuck all y'all.
Do you want to know what I am, Greg? I'm a pedest.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you're a
And I'll
centrist,
explain what I mean by
HiFi.
that.
Say it.
People
You
take
don't
care
want
of
to
the
say
text,
it.
right?
You're a
They take-
centrist.
Everybody. I don't care if you're right
Say
or
it,
left.
HiFi.
everybody takes care of their fucking pets, right? Well, unless you're Tim
I'm a
Pool and then you
petist.
kidnap
That's a
some woman's
cop-out.
cat and try to kill it. But anyway, fuck Tim Pool. He got me
Straight
fired from
Jay.
my job, by the way. Yeah, fucking Tim Pool. Anyway, people take care of their pets. You know, they make sure their pets have food. They make sure their pets are warm and safe. They got water to drink. If their pet needs medical attention, they get their pet medical attention, right? Everybody does this. Doesn't matter right or left.
Well, again, there are people who run dogfighting.
He's a centrist
Well,
fishing, right?
That's not a pet. That's a fucking investment shit. And I can understand that because I come from some rednecks, but we got to stop the dogfighting shit. That's not fucking cool. I'm not even cool with cockfighting, honestly.
How
I think it's kinda
stereotypical
crazy.
that
But anyway,
rednecks do dog fighting. What?
I just want people to treat humans as well as they treat pets. That's my
Rich
fucking
people
political
love dog
position. That's it.
fighting. Do you hear Michael Vick?
I could give a fuck. I don't care about fucking religion.
Fucking rich as
I don't care
fucking
about
ran a dog
philosophy. I don't
fighting
care
ring.
about your moral codes. I, as a human being, could live a lot fucking happier life if there weren't people suffering in poverty and kids dying from fucking lack of food because it's too expensive because Monsanto shareholders
Oh yeah.
need another fucking 30 cents a fucking
100%.
quarter
Poverty
in
and
price for
homelessness-
earnings.
Poverty and homelessness in the United States of America.
I wouldn't say, the singularity, but a lot of shit's going to be getting automated. AI is going to be taking off. I don't trust any of these fuckers in Silicon Valley to be running AI.
No.
Look at Google. Google, I mean, all their AI ethics people blatantly fucking fired them.
Yeah,
Why?
sorry,
Because
bullshit.
they're going to make evil shit. They're going to make evil fucking AI. What is Clearview AI except evil fucking AI? And where did Clearview AI get their 3 billion fucking pictures? I don't know. Google Photos, you fucking tell me.
I mean,
Facebook,
yeah.
Twitter, scrape everything. Scrape all our fucking pictures. Know who every single one of us are. Have a psychographic profile on us. Hey, guess what? I'm a sales guy. I'm gonna fucking walk into your place as soon as you walk in and say hi. I'm gonna take a picture of you. I'm gonna pull up all your shit. I'm gonna know exactly what buttons to fucking push to make you do whatever I want.
that is exactly what they are building.
100%.
We'll see how good they get at it, but
Like AI is
it's
dangerous.
gonna be
I mean,
tough. I
I'm
tweeted out
not
jokingly
going along with their theories and stuff.
like a month or so ago
I don't
when
trust the
Twitter
development
got rid of
and rapid pace of AI.
fleets and decided that fleets was going to be turned off because it wasn't the feature they
Mostly
thought it was going to be,
because
right?
people's jobs
And someone wrote an article
using up
titled
resources.
Twitter Yeets Fleets. And my tweet out about that was, you get back at me if you think AI is going to be writing any news articles anytime soon for you, when they can write this headline. When an AI can write that headline about that topic on its own, then I'll believe AI is anywhere near.
No.
Still the head,
Although
still the
I
head
don't
up.
know.
That
Some
headline's
of that have you seen some of the GPT-3 shit? GPT-3 shit?
I've played with GPT-3 a lot. I've also played with, there's a couple open source implementations that are getting close to its clarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll link you to one of them. We've talked about it endlessly on here in another episode, but I'll link you to one of the open source ones. It's a library that you can actually get running up on Google Compute and then have your own complete implementation. And it's trained on the same data set that GPT-3 was trained on. And it's interesting. It does some crazy shit. I have links to it hidden in a notepad somewhere. I just don't remember how they are.
Okay, so Clubhouse popped up recently, right? Do you realize what the risk vector with Clubhouse is? Kind of the same risk vector we have right now. People can record our voices, right? And they can build AI. Oh, look what they did with Anthony Bourdain.
Exactly.
They built an AI model out of his voice samples. And now we have a fake Anthony
Next
Bourdain.
topic. You know too much.
Honestly,
Next.
I'm just waiting for the time until I can download Lucy Liu and put her on my sex bot.
There it is.
That's going to happen pretty soon. And then who owns the copyright of your body, right?
Lucy Liu immediately popped in his head.
Who owns it?
I do like the shout out there to one of my favorite cartoons. I love me some Futurama.
I love some Futurama, dude. All right, this has been a long show.
It has. GPT-J is the one you should look at.
GPT, well, I'll remember that.
Take a look at that, GPT-J. It's interesting.
I'll remember that because my best friend's name starts with J.
Yeah, so how's it going, chat? We are coming up on 3 hours here, so I do think we are going
I got more of the story if they want to hear it. Otherwise, we can call it a night. Although
we can come back too. I'm actually
sorry,
getting super tired
Spence.
here at 11 o'clock my time. I'm
I
starting
do
to feel
too.
it. You're in Ohio. We are the same time, right?
Yes, it is 11 o'clock.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's bedtime here personally. I know I've talked about it on here before, but everyone should kind of remember that I'm still having some of my issues related to everything that happened last year. I had COVID things, but I don't know. My sleep is still a little problematic. I'm still yawning way too much all day long, and I need some sleep here shortly. So I think we're going to call episode here soon, but I would love to have you back. We need to talk about some other topics too. There's more to talk about. I would love it because you mentioned during this the possibility that some, to use, I believe, your colorful language, motherfuckers need to, well, get together
Maybe
and
have
maybe
an
have an op. If that happens to happen, I would love us to talk about progress on that coming together. So things like that. There's lots of future episodes we could have here. OS the planet, damn it. But yeah.
OS the planet. So actually, I have a question. I can't see the chat right now. I don't have Twitch up.
No worries.
But
Oh boy.
I have a question
Hold
for
on.
people in the audience. Do you think
I
I'm full of
remember this. Let's get HiFi normal. We're at the end here, and okay, there we go.
There's lots of future episodes we could have here. OS the planet, damn it.
He needs validation too.
OSINT the planet. So actually, I have a question. I can't see the chat right now. I don't have Twitch up.
No worries. No
But
worries.
I have a question for people in the audience. Do you think I'm full of shit?
Yes.
On like anything specific?
Anything I said tonight? Do you think I'm full of shit? Like, is my network wrong?
Oh, it
Are
is,
my
Muggsy.
assumptions
It is.
incorrect? See, this is one of the things when I make a solution as an architect, when I map things, I can't do
You
that,
like
or you
flowcharts.
can't do that. I do.
You
I'll
like
admit it.
flowcharts.
I love charting stuff. I love designing stuff. I love like, hey, how am I going to do my virtualization and my storage and my networking and like,
It's
what
not
am I
that
going to do
he
with
was
the cloud?
incorrect
And
on
like,
any of the people
I mean,
and
yeah,
what they
this is all what I
do.
get.
It's like how
but
he
in this
tried this
particular
crazy
instance,
web
I've
and had no
never
real story to it.
done a human network.
insanity.
Now, I
No,
did
Chad
engage.
is in agreement, looking at your stuff and then able to verify most of it already. Just, I mean, through looking through the connections you made. So no,
That's
I
the
mean,
problem.
the thing is like, how to put this? 10 years ago, even with what you showed and how you described it,
like Sergey
anyone
Grisham,
who
terrible
didn't
dude.
think
If
you were
Go.
insane,
Shit, he did it with
I
Kyle
would have thought
Rittenhouse.
was insane.
Yeah,
right?
he had lawyers.
But at this point,
It's
we
just
now damn well
too
know how
bad of a
far
story.
all of these rabbit holes go. We have seen more than enough proof of it all, that like your presentation doesn't come off as insane anymore. In fact, it just comes off as
HiFi's a
adding
happy
more
boy. Look at
complexity
him.
to the puzzle that we already saw in front of us, but at least making some more of those connections that we hadn't made yet. It's just,
Yeah,
I wish,
exactly.
I wish what you showed us really disproven, but it is not. This shit is really going on. These people are as evil as we all think they are, and they are all doing the things that we are all saying they are. I mean, you can follow the puzzle straight back to Deutsche Bank and then all of the Russian money going into it that then comes out. And I hate to scream Russia, Russia, Russia on everything, but you know, they are
So
doing
here's
a
the
hell
thing.
of a lot out there. They are doing
Here's
a hell of a lot.
Here's the thing. It's not just Russia.
No.
Erdogan in Turkey embezzled, what was it, 300 billion? That is now sitting in Deutsche Bank. We know they have Le Pen in France, so there's got to be money laundering in France. Shit, man, in Cleveland, Ohio, we had the Privet Bank buildings. I actually used to work in one of the buildings, but we know they're laundering money through there, right? Because, well, the U.S. government snatched them.
A bunch of them are now laundering money through Puerto Rico in the
You're welcome, Muggsy. There you go.
haven that was created in order to do economic development.
Paolo Zampoli, right?
Jesus,
Paolo
he
Zampoli
can't stop
had a toy
himself.
company, sold it to Berlusconi
He's
at a very
like,
young
"Oh,
age,
by the
went to
way."
work for Berlusconi. Berlusconi had the bunga bunga parties, right?
Yep.
Berlusconi sent the women to Gaddafi. Zampoli had a modeling company with a bunch of young Eastern European models, right? Supposedly introduced Melania to Donald Trump.
Supposedly,
right?
so this isn't a fact.
Probably an escort / spy. Red Sparrow is what they call them. Russia's Red Sparrows.
Probably.
I mean, her literal actual page on the escort service where she was found has been leaked. Like, I have a screenshot of it somewhere. Like,
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you know about her nudes, by the way?
That's like, okay.
The dude who took her nudes, the pictures, who actually the photographer, was a dude who goes by an assumed European royalty name. Got busted for dealing MDMA and running guns, and just recently lost his wife and child because he wanted to have a polyamorous relationship with his wife and his 30-year-old assistant.
Melania had control over that when she was getting
I'm
her
all for poly
pictures
too,
taken.
but
And I
you
don't
don't
mind
get to change the
MDMA,
deal.
but like the I don't know, gun running, depending on where it's going,
Yeah,
I have some
probably.
problems with.
As long as I can get a couple AKs, I'm good.
Anyway. Yeah. It's coming
like,
up on
"You
bedtime,
gotta go."
everyone. We could keep
Old
going
man
on
at
about
the
all
end
these
of the
weird
bar,
connections for hours
shutting
and
out
hours
the
and hours. But like,
lights.
it just
People are
shows
getting put
just
back,
how
cleaning the table.
exposed everyone out there is to this type of manipulation, to the psyops, which is human warfare. I mean, this is absolutely a war for the minds of the people. And so far, I honestly think in the weaponizing of those types of tools and that type of work, the far right has done a way better job than the left has at that specific thing, because they found ways to monetize it so the rich can get richer, and then they put more money into it. And on our side, I don't know about any of you, but especially all my anti-fascist friends out there, I don't think any of us are making money doing any of our anti-fascist work, and the fascists are making money doing their fascism. And
I actually have plans to that. We'll talk about that next time.
Indeed. It definitely makes it harder on the fighting side. But I don't know. The one thing I would like to say is, if anyone wants to see how this all ends, look historically at democracies across the millennia, right? Look back at ancient Greece. This happened twice to them. They got to the point where they actually had a democratically elected leader, a democratically elected, what I will call parliament, worked the same way, and all the other fun stuff. And then the oligarchs happened, and the money concentrated. And when they passed a certain amount of wealth consolidation at the top, the people rose up and killed every motherfucker who even so much as owned a large building. You didn't even have to be super rich at the point that they decided, fuck you. They killed all the people at the top. And it's happened and tanks, and they didn't back then. You could storm Senate back then with pitchforks, and it would work. Now you can't do shit like that, and I'm not advocating for shit like that. I think we got to come up with new tactics. But
I actually have the plan for this too, so that's why we need to talk more later.
Sure.
The only way to beat a fucking gangster, Greg, is to be a bigger fucking gangster. Guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna go fucking gangster.
We will have more episodes then. People will love to
If
hear
you're down, holler at me.
Absolutely, everyone. All right, I linked to Joshua's Twitter on the tweet that I sent out for the episodes. Everyone has that. Anyone wants to reach out, you know how. All right, everyone. This has been fun. This has been 3 hours with high fidelity, everybody.
Oh boy. So that's HiFi there. Yeah, the only way to be a gangster is to be a bigger gangster. Yeah. I'm going to end tonight with, I started at the beginning, I showed Jackie's misidentification of that man, the gentleman. And I want to end real quick with Jim Stewartson's misunderstanding of 764 OONA and the young kid from the Trump administration. Oh, I watched it all. I've seen this, Muggsy. I've seen this thing probably 4 times since I discovered it. And the story of HiFi a few times, different times when but I speed it up and I look at the transcripts for parts I need. Unfortunately, yeah. I said I'm kind of to research and having to rewatch stuff. Okay, let me get to Twitter here. We'll pull up Jim's, and then I'm going to pull up Dr. Mark Argentino's real facts on the Jimmy Stewart. Jim. Whoops. We can talk about Elon Musk. I looked this up. So Jim keeps pointing out this costume that he wore. It was to a Heidi Klum Halloween party. I hate Elon Musk. I don't even want to defend him. But you could have rented this costume for, I forget how much it was for the night, or you could have bought it. Elon Musk bought it. It's a costume. It has, the, I can't say, Baphomet on the front of it or whatever, an upside down cross. Big deal. Jim's making it this whole satanic thing, weird thing right now. It's incredibly stupid. But they're at the same Halloween party that he's making a big deal about it. Like Heidi Klum had people that were like bartenders, had their heads wrapped in like medical things. She went as a big dressed up worm that was Lovecraftian. People were in bathtubs covered in blood, but it's, yeah, I said, thank you. It's getting a little late. Oh yeah, getting a little late here for me. Okay, scrolling down. Okay, I don't know anything about Musquatch, so I'm not even gonna touch Jim's new post on this. We're going to go to his original one. I rely on Dr. Mark Argentino, who studies this. So Jim posted, one of the Doge employees, 19-year-old Edward Cortison, was a member of a group of National Socialist pedophiles called 764 that target, groom, extort, and cause physical and psychological harm to victims as young as 10. Any more questions about what is going on here? And then he cites this Krebs on Security article, which doesn't say, it does, the way they phrase it, they don't exactly phrase it the way that they kind of should. And Jim doesn't exactly understand what's going on either. And he said the group that Cortison was a member of is an extension of O9A, which is a Nazi death cult responsible for numerous acts of murder, rape, and terrorism. Now, this is where we're going to go to Dr. Mark Argentino's information here to actually explain what these are and why Jim's wrong. Okay, let me pull up his, there we go. And Dr. Argentino, I don't know if anybody remembers, he used to be on QAA podcast as he was getting his PhD, and he kind of You can find his research on GNet, and he has his own subscription service that you can read his articles and things on too. So there has been a fair amount of completely wrong and panic-driven explanation about what the COM network is in light of the Wired and Brian Krebs finding that Edward Cortison participation in the COM chats seeking to purchase cyber attack services. So let's talk about it. And then Mark goes on to say, the COM network can be broken down into 3 pillars of criminal activities. And this is where Jim got it completely wrong. So they have cyber crimes, which are like hacking, exploits, SIM swapping. And that is where Cortison was active. And then the second is the extortion and sextortion. That is where 764 lies and all the more insidious types of things of that. And then in number 3, there's offline services, which are also where 764 is, NLM, and those kind of groups. So he shows it right here, the graphic of it. So you can see the COM is a big network. There's offline, there's the cyber where the Trump administration guy lied, and then there's the sextortion one. Jim, of course, says he's an extremism researcher, knows all this stuff, but he completely feeds his people, his followers, the wrong information, and he's not going to correct this. He was even corrected by another researcher in his thread and fought with them too. The COM network is an archipelago of Discord and Telegram chats that are fractured and fractious. I can't talk tonight. The losers often are part of several pillars simultaneously. There is never an automatic correlation between user participation in one pillar to another. Active in cyber COM does not equal active in 764. COM is not a homogenous community. Rather, it is a memeplex of digital criminal networks overlapping with fandoms, gaming, subculture, true crime. Far from being isolated or niche, the COM network is a self-sustaining, multi-layered community. And I'm going to share these articles for everybody. The fluidity of COM groups are like high school cafeteria tables, each defined by its own internal socio-cultural dynamics. These groups might cluster around shared ideologies, but there is a fluidity in how they interact and exchange ideas, reflecting the overlapping and evolving connections between them. So he shows us, it's another good graphic, I think. So it shows how everybody's sitting around and how they all break down. Up here, popular kids, 764s up there, and then everybody else sitting around a table. So, I mean, good graphic to show how it's actually broken up into. The main way they cluster is by level of clout, which determines social standing. Just as popularity determines a cool table, the clout sometimes builds through attention-grabbing violent or criminal actions, which dictates their rank in the network. And then he goes on, I want to see here. Smaller symbolic acts evolve into larger, more destructive events as action equals membership, content equals status, and it will get you an invitation to the table, so to speak. As members are exposed to more frequent and extreme violence, they become desensitized, reducing psychological barriers to escalation. This does not mean that a COM kid working at Dodge with Musk is not a massive threat vector. As Krebs highlighted, even if someone sincerely intends to exit the COM after years of consorting with cyber criminals, they are often still subject to personal attacks, harassment, and hacking. So, and he does go on, and I'll post the articles, but it's The Emperor Never Ended. Oh, I've never heard of that one. I'll have to listen to that one. I've never heard of that. But like I said, Dr. Mark Andre Argentina really breaks it down. I have the articles. Let me share them here real quick. Let's see. Nope. Down further. Oh, here it is. There's the one that's linked in, and you can follow him on Blue Sky too, which obviously you can see here. But Jim just doesn't understand that the COM is one big thing, and then there are the spokes outwards. So he immediately tied this kid to being, he's, in the satanic death cult. I just wanted to make sure we addressed that before I left tonight. Because now Jim, because he spreads through misinformation, fear, and getting his audience worked up, that it's out there, it doesn't matter. But if anybody ever listens or comes across, at least it hopefully reaches more people. I don't know. It's not like he's going to take it back, but it is what it is. I got to go back down here before I get out of here. What was that podcast again? Scroll, 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 scroll. I mean, I had to explain this to my sister for my niece and nephew to be careful because they go in Discords and they play a lot of games and stuff to watch out for these groups. And I had to break stuff down. And thankfully, there's good research out there. And I don't follow Jim Stewartson. And I think that's a scarier side because if you explain everything in an alarmist type level and you don't understand even the basics, it's really hard. And Jim has everybody at this level, like satanic panic level, instead of this is dangerous, but this is really what it is. Oh, okay. If you ever want the funnier side of 09A, listen to my favorite podcast, The Emperor Never Ended. Okay, I'm definitely going to check that out. All right, well, everybody, you stop sharing that. We had a long stream tonight, and I'm a little bit sleepy now. I'm going to go hang out with my animals. Thank you, everybody that came tonight. And if you watch the Twitch stream later or up on Spotify, thank you for also checking out and listening. So good night, everybody. Night, Muggsy. Night, Spencer. And night, other viewers that I see there. I don't need new tires, but stay tuned for the next episode.
We're going to have to be smart. We're going to have to be strategic. We're going to have to be aggressive.
I'm an alpha guy.
I'll flip a table every time you aren't getting by.
Let's go. Just push.
It's all psychological warfare.
I'm not part of QAnon.
We know what they are doing.
For Trump.
If shit goes wrong, like I will literally have to leave the country.
Stop that.
I'll land my initial plane.
Okay,
HiFi,
this isn't the HiFi show.
Good night. Nighty night.